It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational, this is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, good morning, and it's a Thursday, and we have so much to get to. In fact, this morning we're going to give you a chance to win Hobica's free money question of the day. Also, this morning we have a chance for you to win tickets to see Tom Papa at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. You get a chance to win the tickets before you can buy them. They go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m., and it is one of those shows. My wife says, you got to get tickets to this one. This is going to be a good show. So pretty excited about that. Good morning.
Wait, I got to turn my mic on. How about that? Good morning, Bill. How you doing? And
Good
you can
morning.
bump yours up. Well, you're fine. You're fine.
I mean, I'll do whatever you need
that's
me
good.
to do.
That's good. That's
A
good.
little better?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll get into that this morning. We have a lot to talk about in terms of giving away things, but in addition, this morning, a really cool story. I say cool. It's one of those stories that you might be reading saying the New York State Legislature this was really the beginning of the summer, but we're kind of digging out from the story. New York State Legislature just mandated that you spend more money on your automobile insurance. And so you kind of dug into this, Jeff. It's not really mandated, but
Right.
it may very well be something that you don't catch and you end up paying more.
Correct. So we will have on Carol Forgo from the Forgo Agency coming up later this morning. She can explain it better. So you can opt out of it. However, in what she was explaining to me, I actually think it could be something that a lot of drivers want. For instance, I'll use myself as an example because if I'm driving in the car, and the example she gave, it's the spouse. It's for a spouse, for a married couple, right? So you're driving in a vehicle and you get in an automobile accident. Well, if your wife or your spouse is injured in that accident, apparently under the old laws or rules, you couldn't sue for damage, essentially, because you are one entity, in essence. That was kind of the explanation I got. So all the medical bills and things like that, you wouldn't be able to sue for or you wouldn't be covered for those expenses. But apparently the change in the law allows, for instance, if you were in an automobile accident with your spouse and were injured, you would be able to sue the policy, essentially, and receive a settlement, a payout, whatever it might be, to cover any expenses.
Yeah, I really never had given any thought to this, but and just think about for a moment, if you're in the car and let's say male is driving, female is the passenger, and you end up being paralyzed in the automobile accident, you have no and let's say it's just a one-car accident, your insurance will pay you nothing. And you had no opportunity to be able to, as you just said, sue the policy. I've never really thought about that, but that's a real problem. So the legislature almost unanimously passed this piece that mandated that insurance companies include this in the policy, which would allow you to. Now it's going to cost you more. That's the deal.
Yes, and I think there's an issue with an auto. It's automatic unless you opt out.
Yeah. So we'll get Griffo's take on this. And also, as you said, Carol Forgo will be on later on this morning to dig into it. But I'm sure you saw the headlines earlier in the year, which basically said the legislature just required that in New York you're going to pay more for automobile insurance.
Click it, read it, click it, click it.
Yeah. I'm afraid that's kind of what it is. We'll do the Wanted Person of the Week, the Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. We'll get to that. We're talking about a short film event that's coming up. Paul Buckley in studio later on, and much more to squeeze in. More bad news coming out of Maui today.
jeez.
The fear is that many of the dead, and we had said 1,300. It's I believe we're over 110 right now, officially dead, and about 1,300 people are missing, unaccounted for, and that's just a terrible, terrible story.
Yeah, it is. You know what the saddest thing about it is?
And they're saying many of them are children.
Yeah, that's the thing. You had families, and I don't even want to say, but essentially they were, in many cases, trapped in their homes, and they just died. They just burned in their homes. I mean, it's such an awful story.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about it. Mets winning yesterday. A win for the New York Mets. A loss, am I correct, for the Yankees?
Yes, 2-0. Another shutout.
So this is the first time, if you're into stats, this is the first time, Davey, this is the first time the New York Yankees have been below 500 this late in the season in over 30 years. I mean, I realize usually by August the negative stories are always about the Mets, but this year they're saying if you're 30 years or younger, you're probably watching the worst New York Yankee season of your life this season.
No, wait,
and I guess I didn't realize it was that bad.
Wait, did you say it'd be the first time in 30 years they haven't been in the playoffs?
No.
No. Okay, the worst season in 30 years.
Well, it is the first time in 30 years that the Yankees have been below 500 this late in the season.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's even shocking to me, to be honest with you, as a lifelong Mets fan who's now 40 years old. I've been saying this all year. I mean, they're going to snap out at some point. You know they're going to be in the playoffs when it comes fall. I've been saying that all year. I say that every year because that's what happens every year. Yeah, it's tough for the Yankees fans. It's it's lonely over here being a Mets fan. I mean, I know you are as well, but I don't mean lonely in that regard. But I should say it's quiet out here being a Mets fan because usually I get those Yankees fans chirping, and much to chirp about this year.
Rob, what's that?
Go ahead, Smitty.
Ain't much to chirp about in Yankee land, Jeff.
No.
They're terrible.
Can I write that quote down? Ain't much to chirp about in Yankee land, Jeff. I'm gonna turn that into one of those quotes you put on a poster.
Let's make a T-shirt.
I like it. Rob asking this morning, are you in studio this morning? And the answer to that is I am not in studio this morning. I'm on the road, but we're still broadcasting.
And we're on YouTube also. I think I figured that out.
Look at the amazing dedication. Wow. And we are on YouTube and, of course, the WIBX 950 app you can check out this morning. A big magazine out there put out they really measured all of the state fairs throughout the country. I believe there's a state fair in every state. And they came to the conclusion of the best state fair food in every state.
I just want correction, Bill. I think Florida just has Park and Ride. That's all they have. That's their state fair.
Okay.
So.
All right, that's good. All right. So, what do you think of all the foods that are at the state fair next week? What do you think the number one food is according to this national publication?
The most purchased or most popular?
The most popular.
The most
so
popular.
Every state is going to get credit for something.
Okay.
And you think about for us in New York, you have, for instance, it's a Utica thing. They're at the state fair every year. That is the everything sandwich, which has from greens to chicken riggies and tomato pie, all piled into a sandwich. Loved. There's the New York State wine slushies. That's a big deal. We know, being a big Italian community, fried dough or pizza frite, big at the New York State Fair.
Yep.
So you have dinosaur barbecue every year at the New York State Fair.
Wow.
A sausage maker in Syracuse, Dino's Sausage, every year at the New York State Fair, sausage and peppers. So of all of it, what do you think is the number one, according to this this organization, the number one, it's Delish.com, by the way. What do you think the number one food is at the New York State Fair? I'm going to just tell you.
Is it like a fried Twinkie?
It's none of what I said. No, they're saying it's Dole Whip.
I don't even know
it's the pineapple, Dole pineapple, and it's called Dole Whip, and you can get it all over the country. It's not something I don't think unique to New York. Like they have it at Disney. You can go to Disney and get Dole Whip, and it's kind of like
the only time I've ever had that was not in New York State.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't remember it being at the New York State Fair, but they serve theirs at the fair as it's at a place at the fair called Tropical Delight. And they serve it in a pineapple, a hollowed out pineapple. And according to Delish.com, the number one food at the New York State Fair is Dole Whip. A frozen dessert. Really, I think the first place you would have learned about Dole Whip would have been at Disney.
Right.
It was at the Magic
where
Kingdom.
I had it.
It was at the Magic Kingdom. It was a big thing. People would wait in line. It really.
So
these sites, I'll tell you, it's all about getting clicks, and sometimes I think they try to get people angry. They get more clicks that way.
Yeah. What would you say? Delish.com?
Delish.com is the website.
So maybe I'll see. I don't want to give them the click though. I don't want to go read it. Remind me what Dole Whip is. I know there's a pineapple element to it.
It's a very pineapple-y frozen treat. Not ice cream, but more like ice milk, or I don't know.
Well, see, and if that's what the road they were going down, what is it? Italian ice, right? That's like a popular.
Kind of like an Italian ice, but a little bit creamier than that.
Okay.
But Italian ice would be
at least more Central New York. Yeah.
That would be more Central New York than Dole Whip. I thought this was kind of interesting this morning. Surgeons transplanted a pig's kidney into a brain-dead man, and for over a month, the kidney has worked normally. It is a kidney from a pig. A critical step towards an operation the New York team hopes to eventually try in living patients. Scientists around the country are racing to learn how to use animal organs to save human lives, and bodies donated for research are used and are offering up a remarkable rehearsal, is what they're saying. The latest experiment announced Wednesday at NYU Langone Health marks the longest a pig kidney has functioned in a person, albeit a diseased person, and it's still functioning. Researchers are set to track the kidney's performance for a second month. We're going on month number 2.
All right.
Pretty impressive.
It is impressive. Are we left to believe that because the patient is brain dead, that they felt more willing to experiment with animal parts?
He had. It's most likely that he had signed to allow his body for research.
Okay.
While they're keeping him alive, think about it. You just think this is somebody. There's no risk.
Right.
Of the person is brain dead, so there's no risk here. So, but the next step will be most likely at some point trying this out on humans who are not brain dead, people who are alive and would be able to wake up the next day and say, "You're not going to believe it, but I have a new kidney, and it's the kidney that comes from a pig," which would be much better when you think about the fact that we just had a story yesterday that there was a 1 in, 2 million, 10 million chance.
22 million.
1 in 22 million chance that a woman who married a man that her kidney would match him perfectly, and she gave one of her kidneys to her husband. So he had been waiting, and just think of the number of people who don't get an organ and they pass away because of it. This would be something that could very well solve that problem.
Interestingly, I actually know somebody as well who I believe she donated a kidney to her father, and she had siblings, but she was the only one that matched. And I don't know what the odds were that they would find a match, or the 1 in however many million. Yeah. But it was interesting because her siblings were not matches to my, if I'm understanding this correctly, and she was. And she donated the kidney to her father, and I think he got another I don't know, 10, 12 years of life because of it. It's a beautiful thing.
Listen, this we mentioned this yesterday. Legendary Colgate football coach, the winningest football coach in the history of the Patriot League, has passed away at the age of 75. Dick Biddle took the Raiders to the national championship, the IAA national championship in 2003, won 7 Patriot League titles, and finished his career at Colgate with a record 137 and 73. 137 wins to 73 losses over 18 seasons. That included an 81-27 record in the Patriot League and a career-winning percentage higher than any coach in league history. Davey, he had coached right up until, 2013?
Yes, and they
All right.
honored him with a bobblehead, like a game before he retired. So I got his bobblehead. So
Okay.
yeah,
And, you talk about the honor. I think a more significant honor they did. They named the league's Coach of the Year award in his honor. Like, if you're the Coach of the Year in the Patriot League, you win the Dick Biddle Award. That's quite an
Yeah,
honor.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Speaking of, go ahead. Was it more on this? I wanted to mention
Nope,
somebody
I'm
else
good.
who recently passed. I don't know if we mentioned this on the air, but we were notified of it. I think we talked during a break. Stash Babiars.
Yes.
And if you knew him, you knew him. I can't sit here and run down a bio of him. I just know that any event that I was at, almost any event, any parade, community type event, especially in the New York Mills area, he was there.
Yep. Yeah.
He was always decked out with red, white, and blue. And he was nothing but a nice guy, just a nice guy, a great guy who gave a lot to the community. And I was in shock last night. Somebody sent me the photo.
yeah, I seen that. Did you see that, Jeff?
Outside of his house, Bill, you know what they do on the parkway to honor veterans?
Yeah.
He was a veteran. Then they line up the flags. I think it's Good News Center does it. They lined his property, his house, with all kinds of flags, and they had a huge flag out front. It was actually a beautiful dedication and honor that they did for him.
And the New York Mills Fire Department showed up and with their aerial truck and draped a big American flag in his front yard.
Yeah, they had the giant flag over it. That was a really beautiful thing, and I certainly for a guy who really deserved it. Just
Yeah,
really
it's pretty
a
awesome.
staple of this community, and he's sorely, sorely missed already.
I don't know if you're following any of this story from the Disney movie. What was it? Blindside. The Blindside, and the family of Michael Orr. And this back and forth. He is now out saying that the Disney movie, The Blind Side, which apparently drew off his life story, he's saying it was distorted. It wasn't true. His adopted family, if you will, never really adopted him, and he is out criticizing, especially the mother in this case, who was played by Sandra Bullock, if you remember in the movie.
Yep.
But man, this just blows up it's like almost as if Rudy, if you learned Rudy, that whole story had no truth to it, and that was a true story, right, Rudy? I believe it was.
Smitty, what do you know about that? I mean, again,
I think it was.
You get into this situation where it's based on, and then there's, what do they call
So
it?
it was
Creative.
Bambi, real story, true story.
Look, well, the Rudy story is again based on a true player, but I don't think he made the plays in that game. Like he comes in for one play and gets a sack to end the game.
Sure
I don't think
there's
that's
right. I'm
You know what
sure
I mean?
there's some creative license there, but in this case, this is a blow. He, of course, did go on to play in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
and you just thought that his adopted, quote unquote, adopted mom and dad and family, that it was all an amazing positive. And of course, if you looked at the sidelines when he was playing in the NFL, his family was there. But he's saying they took advantage of him, and that they never really adopted him. That it was a conservatorship, and that they profited off his story, and much in many cases didn't allow the money to flow to him as it should. So for the first time now, the family is really out, and they're talking. They now say that he threatened to plant a story, a negative story, the story that is currently out there, unless they paid him $15 million.
Ooh.
Now, I guess that could also be done in an innocent fashion, right? It could have been where his attorney was saying, listen, he feels that you guys didn't make any money, or you made all the money off him, and that he deserved money. He's asking for $15 million, or he's going to go public with this story. I guess that could be done in a way that would be a negotiating point. They're saying that he basically said to them, I'm going to plant this story about you unless you give me $15 million. Pretty bad ending to this story.
Yeah, it is. Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this story. I don't know all the details, and I don't know where the movie line story veers off. But I kind of blame Disney a little bit, because I think this becomes fueled by when he does media or he does interviews, right? People are always asking, like, oh, certain elements. They see the movie and they think that's exactly how it played out. And again, there's creative license that's taken in there to, polish the corners and, make everything look rosy. And there's always got to be a turning point in the movie where there's some obstacle to overcome. Who knows if that's really true or if it's overblown. Unfortunately, we see this in every movie that's based on a true story. So I think at some point, again, there was a variation from what he saw as reality as to what was portrayed in the movie, and he feels like he's kind of been exploited. I will say this, though. Look.
Well, you don't know that it's Disney that created the storyline. It had to probably come from the mother, where the book came from. But either way, it's a terrible end to the whole thing. They're saying that this is what the attorney is saying. This family opened their home to Mr. Orr, offered him structure, support, and most of all, unconditional love. They have consistently treated him like a son and one of their 3 children. His response was to threaten them, including saying that he would plant a negative story about them in the press unless they paid him $15 million. The attorney says that this is a shakedown effort.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it.
And the book, by the way, the statement also offers an account of the deal-making process behind adapting the book, 2006 book, The Blind Side, Evolution of a Game, into the 2009, and this might be what you're talking about, Jeff, into the 2009 Oscar-winning feature starring Sandra Bullock. Singer says that the family insisted that any money received be divided equally, and they have made good on that pledge. I believe it was an equal cut. Every penny that was received from the movie, it was split 5 ways.
Well, and so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask and kind of maybe speculate about that. It would seem to me, for instance, like if you wrote a book or they based a movie about you, I mean, they could do a sitcom on your life, certainly. But if your son or daughter or your spouse or your in-law or one of your parents was in there as a character or part of a hook in the storyline at some point, it's your life. It's what you experienced. But what's your obligation to go pay them because whatever they did, because they appear in your story? You know what I mean?
Right.
I
You've
just
seen
want
a little of this with Britney Spears, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, where supposedly she's claiming the father is making all this money, and now that conservatorship is done. And I guess I didn't realize that these things continue on into adult life, because he's clearly an adult. He's now out of the NFL. So, and I guess the question I would wonder is, would this kid ever made it? Would he ever have made it to the NFL if it wasn't for his quote unquote adopted parents?
Right. That is a great question. The other thing,
and if you watch the movie, you know the answer to that, right? And the movie, according to the movie, he never would have made it. That it was everything that the family did for him that allowed him to be able to succeed the way that he did. And he's saying that story just isn't true.
All right. So, this is under Tennessee law. So people are familiar with conservatorship. I was actually looking up the actual definition. Under U.S. law, conservatorship results from the appointment of a guardian or a protector by a judge to manage the personal or financial affairs of another person who is incapable of fully managing their own affairs due to age or physical or mental limitations. So I think what's important here, and this might answer the question about would he have made it to the NFL without them, or would he have been on a different path, whatever the case may be. At what point did he become a part of the family? Did they take him in when he was, 8, 10, 12? Or was he 17 and he was, had the possibility of becoming a D1 athlete and going to the NFL? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, according to the movie, of course, right? They really taught him how to play football. That he never had any chance prior to that. But again, you just don't know what's true and what is Hollywood. So, but it is a shame that this story. It is like it's like hearing that Rudy was a completely made, like the kid didn't have any disability whatsoever. That was all part of the drummed up Hollywood storyline. Although I forget the movie Rudy, I'm probably screwing it up. Anyway, it is what it is. But it will be very interesting to see how this thing ends. But, if you're Disney, they're really screwing up rentals and streaming on Netflix and people buying DVDs, if people still buy DVDs.
And let me just go back to this one point on when he became a part of the family. Instead of saying adopted, I'm just going to say a part of the family. Because they say that he was, I'm looking at an NPR story that says, or said he discovered legally he was not actually part of the Tohoi, is that how you say it? Tui family?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm just calling it the family.
He was portrayed as being adopted after he began sporadically staying with the family the summer after his junior year of high school. The summer
so
after
that late in his in his school career.
So he's probably 16 or 17 at that time. But my point being this, the point I wanted to drive home on the conservatorship, essentially that is done so that, like in Britney Spears' case, it's because we know she's young and the father thought she was irresponsible or had some type of issues. So she can't manage all this money. We need to have a fund so that it's there for her later in life, essentially, right? If they never adopted him and just set up a conservatorship, like they knew that he was going to be some NFL star making millions of dollars at 16 or 17 years old, I guess maybe they did. I guess maybe you could know that. In my mind, I was thinking he was younger, like 10 or 12 years old, and I was going to say, how would you know that? Why would you take a child and set up a conservatorship thinking, well, maybe one day they'll be a famous athlete and we can get a piece of the money? So I guess he was older than I actually thought he was when he joined the family.
Yeah, and maybe the book was written after he made it to college football, after he made it to the NFL. I don't know. Either way, here's one more crazy story. You know how it's very important that if you go to a wedding, you never want to overshadow the bride.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know anything about this being a male, but I believe it's a thing. Clearly, it is. And for instance, you never should wear white.
Correct. Even I know this.
Well, right. You should not. You wouldn't go in your wife wouldn't go to a wedding, somebody's wedding, wearing a white gown and you wearing a white tuxedo. You would be looked upon negatively.
Trying to steal the show.
Right. So a new groom took to Reddit to see advice after he claimed his wedding day was ruined due to the wearing of white by a guest, and apparently ruined everything. It upset his bride. The Reddit user said, asking if he was wrong for calling his wife insecure and selfish on their recent wedding day, because she blew up during the wedding, and it ruined the entire reception because a young child, a kid, wore white to the wedding.
Oh, it's a kid?
Yeah,
okay. No. I'm sorry. He's right. He's got a problem on his hands.
Our nephew was wearing white jeans and a white bow tie. And listen, to me, on this, and I don't want to spend much time on this, the kid was 6 years old. The bride and the groom, both adults. This kid did him a favor. Get out of this relationship.
Yes.
Get the wedding annulled. You have trouble. And get out of it. That's how I would look at that.
And if I could just add one more thing, when we talked about the overshadowing. That is other adult women who show up. You don't want to overshadow the bride. Not a 6-year-old boy who shows up wearing white jeans. Come on, lady, grow up.
you probably shouldn't be worried about that. And if you're following along to the indictment, one of the indictments, the latest indictment, this is the Fulton County Grand Jury in Atlanta that has indicted former President Donald Trump. A fringe website. Listen, this falls under the category of free speech, but I wonder, does it? Are you putting people in danger? Trump supporters on a fringe website apparently listed the names and addresses of everyone on the Fulton County Grand Jury that indicted Donald Trump and 18 of his co-defendants on state racketeering charges this week. All of their information has been posted onto this fringe website. What do you think?
I think it's wrong. I think it's inappropriate, and I do think it's dangerous. Not long ago, somebody was doing this on social media to conservatives who believed a certain thing, and I think there might have been a Supreme Court angle in there as well.
Well, right. You had people going to the home addresses of Supreme Court members, and
yeah, this is not cool for either side.
Protesting outside their homes, and
not acceptable. Why would you do that? You know, the only reason I can. Why would you give somebody? Why do I need to know your home address to go there? Right? It's not so when I write a story, I can properly identify you as a Mohawk Valley resident or a Hudson Valley resident, right? It's to direct people to where to go to bring your chaos. That's terrible. That is terrible.
So they are saying that while it is shameful, Democrats have done this to conservatives in the past. There was a case in support of Bernie Sanders. There was another case in support Black Lives Matter, that movement. I don't think that saying, to me, none of this is right. And while it is, I guess, it is free speech, the names of jurors on grand juries are meant to be kept private as to, I mean, if they want to go forward after being on a grand jury, they have the right to go forward. But this, whether conservatives are doing it, and I don't call these people conservatives, by the way.
That's a good point.
That's not a conservative value.
Correct.
To do something like this. But, whichever side is doing it, it's wrong. And in this case, it's pretty dangerous, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, why would you need to know my address? And keep in mind, too, there's a difference between somebody who willfully engages in a political demonstration or holds a sign or says something nasty about a candidate. These people have a civic duty. I mean, have you ever been summoned for jury duty? Everybody who gets involved in that, 90% of them are like, I don't want to do this. I want to go to my regular job. I don't want to be involved. It's something you have to do. And then to expose their address, why? So someone could go throw a brick through their window or set their home on fire?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Okay, getting a lot of comments on the, I'm completely with you. Not good. It doesn't matter who's doing it. Conservatives, MAGA, Trump supporters, liberals, Black Lives Matter people, doesn't matter. It's wrong. And Julie, supplemental spousal insurance coverage is what you're talking about. It's automatically added to your policy.
Yep.
And this is the thing that gets people going, I think. It's automatically added whether or not you have a spouse.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So this is automatically added on everyone's automobile insurance. So I think where it gets tricky is it's one of these things, these little surcharges.
Yeah.
That if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to be paying for it, albeit $12 a month. I don't think it's going to be that much.
Yeah, I was going to say, my insurance went up this year like $11, and I bet you that's what this was.
Well, that might be. And Joe says you are correct. Currently, if a spouse is injured, they're not able to collect liability benefits. However, medical is covered for anyone that is in the vehicle up to a certain limit. These are no-fault benefits that are usually capped at $50,000. So we'll get the insurance aspect of this and the political side of it with Senator Griffo coming up. And then, as we said, we'll speak with an insurance agent on it as well. Joe says, now to the Mets and Yankees. How about a little love for the Atlanta Braves, who have had local ties to Utica over the years that not only included Mark Lemke, but also Fred McGriff, who played for the Blue Sox. And lastly, a little love for their number one fan since Hank Aaron days, me. Joe Pacini says, I am a Braves fan. And as long as we're giving love for the enemy,
Well, maybe you are. I'm not.
as long as someone is, let's talk about the L.A. Dodgers. Did they win again yesterday? They had won 9 straight as of yesterday.
I want to say we were up 6-1 when I went to sleep last night.
Yeah, that would make it 10 in a row.
Check here.
Man, even if the Mets were to get in, I just don't think they could compete with these teams in the National League. Just wouldn't be. Although it'd be nice to be able to at least be in the playoffs, wouldn't it? Whether you're a Mets or Yankees fan. And Davey, by the way, is saying it's all over for the Yankees. They're not getting in. They really, even though they do have a chance, they don't have a chance. And one more Yankees story, if I could, before we break. Michael Kay, Peter Rosenberg, the two of them got into a fiery Yankees debate. Did you see this, Davey? Did you see any of it?
I need to hear the audio. I stopped listening to Michael Kay because they do staged arguments. Okay? You can tell from the tone of voice sometimes that they are only arguing for the purpose of arguing. They kind of take pot shots at each other, but they're not real. There's not a real passion in there. It's like, oh, hey, Peter, I think you should take this angle today. And then it's phony.
I'll try to get the audio for you.
I don't know on this particular case.
Michael Kay, Peter Rosenberg got into it over the disappointing Yankees on the ESPN New York and Yes Network simulcast of the Michael Kay Show yesterday. Kay said that last year's Bombers' swoon was triggered by LeMahieu's injury and then a postseason without infielder and Andrew Benintendi and hobbled Matt Carpenter hampered the team against the Astros in the ALCS. Kay said this explained why the Yankees fashioned themselves as better than a 500 team last offseason and only made a couple of acquisitions. I think they thought they were going to be a lot better, but now we see there is a flaw in that, said Kay. And then Rosenberg, I'm just being honest, this does sound sort of like excuse making. And the two of them went back and forth. You think it's totally staged?
I can't watch that show anymore because
I don't
their
give a
arguments.
crap what it sounds like, said Kay. So whatever it is, it got some play.
Oh, God.
And maybe it was all kind of made up.
You know, I'll say this. When Michael Kay took over that show on Yes, and he's on ESPN Radio New York, they were, he took the Diet Pepsi bottle and he put it in the can. And, Bill, I don't know if you're familiar, Mike and the Mad Dog, Mike Francesa and Chris Russo, and they had split up. And it was just Mike Francesa at that time when they made the change on the Yes Network. Look, you can say whatever you want about Francesa. You don't like him, dog. But when they argued, there was passion and it was real, and they legitimately disagreed on things. They didn't have phony, staged arguments. Michael Kay is the television broadcaster of the New York Yankees. He is better than that. It's embarrassing to watch sometimes. It's so phony. I know many Yankee fans. I'd love to hear from them this morning who say the same thing. They're like, you know what? You're right. I hate Michael Kay. He's a phony.
I can't stand him.
Did Davey just say, I can't stand
Yeah,
him?
Smitty said, I can't stand him.
Okay, coming up next hour, we'll talk to Dr. Shemaleski from the Falcon Clinic on osteopathic manipulative medicine for non-musculoskeletal conditions. I'm going to have to get the explanation as to what that is, but they'll be in studio coming up in a little while. We have a lot to talk about, including should you get what does Dr. Shemaleski think? Should you get the upcoming flu and COVID shot? There's going to be a new update vaccine coming up in just a few weeks, just around the corner. We'll get to all that coming up. WIBX Utica, Rome.
They've still only searched about a third of the Hawaii wildfire ruins. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and the number of confirmed deaths already up to 111.
Recovery workers and cadaver dogs sifted through the rubble once again in ashes looking for bones, teeth, flesh, anything from which a pathologist can draw DNA to obtain an identity by matching a relative's DNA.
Fox's William Lajeunesse in Maui. More than 1,000 people remain unaccounted for around the burnout town of Lahaina. The judge overseeing the third Trump indictment related to the attempts to overturn the 2020 election has been threatened.
Abigail Jo Schrei of Alvin, Texas, is charged with calling the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. and leaving a threatening message, which court records show included a racial term for federal district judge Tanya Chutkin, who is black.
Fox's Lillian Wu, the DA overseeing the fourth Trump indictment, also election-related in Georgia, has proposed a March 4th trial date. In a new Fox News poll, 53% say they believe the former president did something illegal, but 51% also say he's being politically targeted. Now, the former president remains the Republican 2024 frontrunner, 37 points ahead of Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy's third at 11%, but that's 42 points back. Months after Congressman George Santos was indicted on wire fraud and theft charges after admitting to lying about his past, one of his fundraisers is busted.
Sam Mealy's facing charges of wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Prosecutors allege he schemed to defraud donors and raise money for New York Republican Congressman George Santos by claiming to be a high-ranking aide to a member of the House with leadership responsibilities.
Fox's Jill Nato. There's a manhunt in Harris County, Texas, for the gunman who fled a traffic stop last night after shooting a sheriff's deputy who's in critical condition.
He's fighting the good fight. We're standing with him, and we ask for prayers. That's the main thing.
Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, a San Jose, California police officer, also critical the day after being shot by a gunman now in custody. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting the heroes who risk life and limb in the line of duty ever since. Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2019, days before Christmas. He left behind his wife and 5 children. Tunnel to Towers immediately paid off their mortgage thanks to your generosity. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
A win in court for pro-life advocates trying to put restrictions on an abortion pill, but that decision is not final.
The Fifth Circuit U.S. Appeals Court's decision deals with the abortion drug mifepristone. The 3-judge panel, while overturning a Texas judge's decision revoking FDA approval of the drug, also said it can't be delivered by mail and that a doctor must be there to administer it. The final decision will be made by the U.S. Supreme Court. Mifepristone is one of the more common abortion-inducing medications. Misoprostol is the other drug that providers have said they could switch to if mifepristone is at some point outlawed. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Now to something else controversial that'll likely end up being challenged in court. North Carolina's Republican-led legislature has overridden some vetoes by Democratic Governor Roy Cooper. One law bans gender-affirming medical care for minors. Another prohibits transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. On Wall Street, stock futures rising the day after another sell-off. A Major League Baseball player benched by his team. Now under investigation in his native Dominican Republic over allegations he had a relationship with a minor.
The investigation into Wander Franco will be handled by a provincial division specializing in minors and gender violence. That, according to a prosecutor out of the Dominican Republic. The probe into the Tampa Bay Rays shortstop is in its early stages as prosecutors gather evidence and testimonies related to social media posts that questioned the nature of a relationship Franco was in with a younger woman. The Rays placed Franco on the restricted list while Major League Baseball looks into the accusations, keeping him benched for at least 6 games. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
On the field, his Rays won without Franco. Tampa Bay beat the San Francisco Giants 6-1. The Los Angeles Dodgers won their 10th straight game, beating Milwaukee 7-1. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
We have mostly cloudy skies and 62 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:05. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's. Hot buys this August, a 2-piece sofa and love seat starting at $5.99. Reclining sofas from $4.99. Same-day delivery at My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center. Well, local health officials again sounding the alarm about tainted, deadly street drugs that have resulted in a series of overdoses recently. First responders were called to 9 drug overdose incidents in the past weekend, 2 in the city of Rome and 7 in the city of Utica. One of the incidents in the city of Utica was a fatal overdose. Heroin and methamphetamine, along with other drugs yet to be identified, are believed to be responsible. The 9 overdose incidents last weekend brings the total this month now to 14. In all of the non-fatal incidents, officials say naloxone was administered either by first responders or bystanders and was able to successfully reverse the drug overdose and save lives. For the 12th time since 2021, a gun has been detected at a TSA checkpoint at Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Earlier this week, an officer spotted the loaded weapon as it went through an X-ray machine. The man who owns the weapon is an Oneida County resident who does have a permit for it, but he now faces a possible fine for having a gun at the airport. Colgate University is mourning the death of longtime football coach Dick Biddle at the age of 75. Biddle led the Raiders to the program's only appearance in the national championship game back in 2003. He won 137 games in a career that lasted 18 seasons. Biddle is also the winningest coach in the history of the Patriot League, and the league's Coach of the Year award is named in his honor. No word yet on a memorial service for Biddle or when that will be taking place. The New York State Department of Health says mosquitoes carrying diseases have been found in Oswego and Onondaga counties. Insects with West Nile virus were recently discovered in West Monroe and Hastings. Mosquitoes in the town of Cicero also tested positive for eastern equine encephalitis. Residents who live in these areas are asked to take precautions to protect themselves from getting bit by mosquitoes, like wearing insect repellent and having on long clothing while outdoors. WIBX News Time is 7:08. A foggy start this morning. Mostly cloudy right now. Here's what we can expect later today.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, lots of sun, breezy, warmer, an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon, but mainly dry, near 85. Tonight, clouds increase, downpours and storms develop, near 65. Friday, quite breezy, turning cooler, showers and thunderstorms through midday. Then some sun, then new scattered lake effect rain showers by evening, near 70. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
All right, in sports, the Mets take the rubber match against the Pirates yesterday. Some home runs from DJ Stewart. He got 2. Francisco Lindor had a pair of RBIs, and Pete Alonso hit his 36th home run of the season. The Mets get an 8-3 win. They now hit the road to begin a 4-game series against the Cardinals in St. Louis tonight. The Yankees swept by the Braves and shut out yet again, 2-0 the final yesterday. Aaron Judge had one of the team's 4 hits, but was one of 3 players who struck out 3 times. The Yankees now fall under 500, 60-61. They face off against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium in a series that begins tomorrow. News on the Jets and Giants. The Giants' right tackle Evan Neal has cleared concussion protocol, and he practiced in a non-contact jersey. Neal suffered a concussion during practice earlier this month. He is eligible to suit up for the team's second preseason game coming up tomorrow night against the Carolina Panthers. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has narrowed down its group of coaches and contributors for the 2024 class, which includes a Giants legend. Former head coach Buddy Parker has been named the lone finalist from that group, which includes Mike Shanahan, Robert Kraft, and Tom Coughlin. Parker coached the Lions to back-to-back NFL titles in the 1950s. He also coached the Chicago Cardinals and Steelers. Coughlin won a pair of Super Bowls as the New York Giants head coach. The G-Men beat the Patriots in 2008 and 2012 to lift the Lombardi Trophy. And one more, this on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, speaking to the media yesterday, he was asked about his offensive line, which gave up 6 sacks during a joint practice with the Buccaneers. The Super Bowl winning QB said his concern level is pretty low. Rodgers went on to say, "I do not get concerned about things I don't have a huge role in yet." New York's line also struggled in last week's joint practice with the Panthers. The Jets kick off against the Buccaneers for a preseason showdown at MetLife Stadium coming up on Saturday night. Bill, a couple things here, and you know this very well when you have a great quarterback.
Yeah.
You saw this with the Bills. everybody goes, oh, they're going to the Super Bowl. And not everybody, a lot of people seem to think that just because they got Aaron Rodgers, they're going to the Super Bowl. Well, you got to block for them. Receivers have to catch the ball. Defenses have to stop teams. There's more than just having a big name under center. The other thing I want to mention is on the Yankees note about Michael Kay. I am getting some messages here from Yankees fans. Nagel is among them. But Sal Barbero, right, the crew chief, the guy who got me into the umping.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. We've talked about this before. He sent me a text just as we hit the top of the hour there. He goes, Kay still doesn't know what a foul tip is. This guy's been in baseball his whole adult life. He doesn't know the difference between a foul ball and a foul tip.
Yeah, and Nagel saying, fire Cashman. He's nothing without Gene Michaels. It is listen, Yankees fans aren't used to this. Mets fans, it's just another season.
Yeah.
It's just another year. It's just another August.
But you know what?
Where we look to football.
We get to, usually the Yankees fans enjoy the demise of the Mets at this time of the year. And shoes on the other foot this year. I can't say it's hurting me any to watch that.
Well, I think the shoes are on both feet.
Well, I mean, look, the odds were we were going to be in this situation anyway. I know we spent a ton of money, but I mean, are you shocked things didn't work out for the Mets?
Well, and I got to say that I think the way the Mets are looking at things right now, because there was a story in the New York Post yesterday about the Mets and that they're not giving up on 2024. And even though that has been reported, that really what they're doing right now is it's giving them a chance to look at players, giving players a chance to shine, maybe coming up through the organization. And it's going to be a busy offseason. They got to clean up the pitching problem. But you have Diaz, who's looking good. Everything is leaning towards getting him back at some point. And like last night, every win by the Mets, every great pitching performance by the Mets, every home run, it's really like we're really preparing for next year. I kind of feel.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me is that there is some talk out there about will they keep Pete Alonso or will they look to trade?
That blows my mind.
It blows my mind too. To me, he's a David Wright. He's a Howard Johnson. He's a staple. He's a franchise guy.
Yeah. An Ed Kranepool, if you will, right?
Exactly. Yep. We talked to
I
last week.
Completely agree. All right, coming up, we'll speak with Dr. Shemolinsky, Dr. Zielinski, and the osteopathic approach. What does it all mean, and how can it benefit you? And beyond that, with the upcoming vaccines that we're going to be expected to jab into our bodies. Are you good with it? What does the doctor think about that? Should you get your vaccine coming up? We'll talk to him in just a little bit. Stand by. We're coming back. I am on the road this morning, and they're holding down the fort back in the studio. Listen, we have tickets to give away for Tom Papa. He is a phenomenal comedian. Look him up if you've not seen him. He used to be the regular opening act for Seinfeld, but he travels the country. He is just a hot comedian out there. And we're giving away tickets before you can buy them. They go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you'd like to go to the show on December 1st, because I'm away and in order to make this thing work, all you need to do, and we have, I'm losing my mic, all you need to do, and let's say I have 2 pairs of tickets to give away right now. All you have to do this morning is make Davey chuckle. Call him up right now at 315-736-0186. We have 2 pairs of tickets to give away. To 2 different people. Davey, are you in a chuckling mood today? You have your mojo because you're going to need it for this.
Yeah.
If you don't have the mojo, you won't laugh.
I got my mojo because I'm talking to somebody right now.
All right, Davey's an easy laugher. He has 2 pairs to give away right now. Call him, and we'll, on the other side, tell you who wins the tickets. 315-736-0186. It is a chance for you to win tickets before you can win them from the Turning Stone and WIBX.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Are you a registered nurse with a passion for making a difference in the lives of others? Do you have a desire to work in a supportive and compassionate environment? If so, hospice and palliative care may be the perfect opportunity for you. We're currently seeking a registered nurse to join our team. As a hospice registered nurse, you'll have the opportunity to provide one-on-one nursing care and emotional support to patients and their families during a difficult time in their lives. You'll develop and implement care plans to meet the needs of your patients and to ensure that they receive the highest quality of care possible. At Hospice and Palliative Care, we believe that everyone deserves compassionate and dignified end-of-life care. If you share the same commitment to excellence and are looking for a fulfilling career working Monday through Friday in hospice care, we would love to hear from you. To learn more about this opportunity, please visit hospicecareinc.org. That's hospicecareinc.org. Or call us today. Thank you for considering hospice as your next career destination.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Mohawk Valley FCU wants to help you save money right now. They're extending their swap and drop auto loan promotion through the end of August 2023. Bring your car loan to Mohawk Valley FCU, and they'll drop your rate up to 2% off your current rate for the remainder of the loan. That's up to 2% off your auto loan, with locations on River Road in Marcy, in the state office building in Utica, and with mobile banking. You'll receive the best service no matter where you are. Member-focused, member-driven. Visit MohawkValleyFCU.org.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Okay, here we are on a Thursday morning, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, making their way into the studio. Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Shemaleski from the Falcon Clinic.
You are correct. They are here. Good morning, docs. How you doing? Oh, you know what? Again, it's helpful when I turn your mics on. Is this how this is supposed to work here? There we go. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning. Can you hear us?
We've got you.
Wonderful.
We have you here. I wanted to start right out by talking about your take, Dr. Shemaleski, on the upcoming vaccines that we're now learning will be there'll be a new flu, of course, a new flu shot, and a new COVID vaccine. But people seem to be this has become political. What's your take? Should people take this vaccine?
Well, I try to stay out of the political part of it there. I think we went through a big problem with government suggestions that we all get the vaccine and so forth. And it's a different formulation and a different platform than we're used to with the flu vaccine. At the Falcon Clinic, we do give out flu shots every fall. As far as the COVID vaccines, and there are development of new vaccines for the newer variants, like the one that is, coming out of Asia and Europe now. My take is that natural immunity really does have a great part in keeping us safe. However, people 65 and over run a great risk of having complications, hospitalizations, and some deaths. And there's been a very slight uptick in deaths across the United States now from COVID. So I feel that the flu vaccine really should be given. There's mortality and morbidity or sickness associated with that. With the COVID, as always, I feel it's a personal decision. It always has been a personal decision. And I think the people who are 65 and older should really consider the possibility of a vaccine. But even with the vaccines, people sometimes still do get sick, but hopefully not as sick as before. Now, at least, we do have some different types of medications, either for symptoms or actually preventing spread of the COVID virus with some medications now. But I think that has to be considered in the mix, as well as a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. So if you're under 65, you don't think people should be taking the COVID vaccine?
I didn't say that. I said that they were at a much lower risk on there, unless they are taking immunosuppressive medications, on a regular basis, like some of these shots for different things, and if they have cancer, et cetera, et cetera.
So ultimately, it's a good idea to really have this conversation with your doctor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So today's topic, osteopathy, includes osteopathy and ways that you can maybe solve your problem in an osteopathic way. So let's talk about that and what examples you have where people could be helped.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
So we actually wanted to spend quite a bit of time today talking about the non-musculoskeletal applications of osteopathic medicine. Now, we certainly do treat, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain in our office with various techniques. But we're going to talk about some things this morning that some listeners might actually be surprised to know that we treat with the osteopathic approach. And in particular, Dr. Shimoleski, I was wondering if you could share the case of shingles that you treated recently, or post-shingles pain that you treated with osteopathic manipulation.
Okay. And in fact, I just gave Jeff an article there on treatment of herpes zoster and also post-herpetic neuralgia that can be really quite severe. So even if people do get proper antiviral treatment and steroids for shingles, they can afterwards get a severe, painful reaction at the nerves afterwards. And this can last for years. I mean, I remember one fellow coming in, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning in the ER, and he said, "I need a pain shot. This is killing me, and my regular medicine doesn't help." And so he'd have to get a shot of narcotic. Anyway, the patient that I'm talking about now is a fellow who months earlier had shingles, and it was going along one of his ribs, I think on the right side. And using the osteopathic approach, which is to normalize anatomy and physiology, I thought about the rib and about the nerve there causing the pain, and I thought about the blood supply, the arteries, the veins, and the lymphatics. And I thought, how about if we kind of open up the sewer system? Why don't we just do a milking, if you will, underneath the rib to go from the front of the rib all the way around the side to the back? And I had not read about this before, but I was just using my osteopathic anatomic physiologic mindset, and I started milking this area. And I did that for a few minutes. It was a little bit uncomfortable, and he noticed some relief afterwards. And I saw him later, I forget, not too much later, a week or so, maybe a little more, and he said, that post-herpetic neuralgia you told me about, it's gone, completely gone. And I had seen him afterwards, and it was like that. So we're really dealing with the anatomy and physiology. That's the great thing, and that's why we're here today. People, think about the musculoskeletal problems, and we love massage therapists and physical therapists and chiropractors and all these people who do musculoskeletal things, exercise physiologists. But as physicians, we're confronted with a lot of things that are not musculoskeletal. So we put on our osteopathic cap and say, what is there in terms of abnormalities of their anatomy or their physiology that we can either augment or correct or help, either alone or with medications. That's why we have, a number of treatments that we have for medical problems.
Well, you know that we've been talking back and forth about knowing that my dad has obviously over the last 6 months had some really severe back issues, but the back problem is gone. The minute the back problem went away, he got shingles. And that nerve pain that comes after shingles can be just excruciating. And you're saying there's an osteopathic approach to this that could really relieve the pain. And boy, that would be big for a lot of people because there are so many who complain that the medication just doesn't cut the pain.
Right. Well, it may help quite a bit, and again, it'll ameliorate some of the symptoms. But in my patient's case, if you still have stagnation, especially of the venous and lymphatic system, it's going to affect the functioning of that nerve. So what you're doing is helping the patient by, kind of lowering their pain threshold.
When you talk about, it seems quite an odd way to describe it, but you're really talking about milking. Like anything else, if you have a plumbing system at home, and a good example, maybe this is the perfect analogy. So if you have one of those refrigerators that has, you can walk up to the door and get ice water or ice cubes, and it has a filter. And if all of a sudden you start to see that the water's not coming out really well, it's because there's some sort of a blockage. Maybe it's the filter needs to be changed, and it's not working properly. Are you saying the same type of thing happens with the human body?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. And that is the basic fundamental principle in the physiologic approach to a lot of these disorders.
So what other conditions beyond shingles could people receive help for?
Well, we actually prepared a little bit of a list, and we'll certainly talk about some other ones. But I think some other in the neurologic realm that I wanted to touch on very briefly. Certainly migraine, headaches, regardless of etiology, TBI. And I actually recall very vividly a lady who I treated recently with the osteopathic approach with MS, multiple sclerosis. And now she does have a neurologist. She does take medication for that condition. But she notices that when she comes for regular OMT about every 4 to 6 weeks or so with our office, when she goes to reach for her water cup, she doesn't miss it as frequently. When she goes to brush her teeth, she doesn't miss her mouth as frequently because the reprogramming of the circuit board, as I've heard Dr. Shimoleski often talk about in the past, that seems to work really well for her when she comes to our office for regular OMT, and again, in addition to seeing her specialist and taking her medication, and so on and so forth. And I think another big area that we wanted to talk about as far as conditions that we can treat using the osteopathic approach was GI, gastrointestinal issues such as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or GERD, acid reflux. Do you have any memorable cases, Dr. Shimoleski, that you want to talk about?
I do, but just anecdotely, I know the case. I think I know the case you're talking about with multiple sclerosis. I gave Jeff a paper on that MS and osteopathic treatment, and that person, I don't know if it's what we do, but she states that her MS is basically controlled, and she's basically not on any medication right now from her neurologist because she's doing so well. With
Does this
things
get to
like
the circulation again that you've talked about so many times, the blood flow, the circulation?
Yes, and that circulation may include venous, lymphatic, arterial circulation, and also cerebrospinal fluid circulation, because the brain makes cerebrospinal fluid that goes down the spinal cord and out the peripheral nerves there too. And it's kind of a healing, tonic, balancing type system on there. With the irritable bowel syndrome, again, there are different reasons for that. Bloating, cramping, sometimes diarrhea, constipation, or alternating with those things. And a lot of these people have had complete GI workup and basically nothing found, and they've tried different dietary regimens and so forth. And we do different things with nutritional counseling and sometimes supplements, things like aloe vera, stress reduction, and so forth. But there are some osteopathic techniques involving, actually, one of them is called a mesenteric lift, where you actually take the person's abdomen and you do certain stretching, if you will, of the intestines and so forth. And I like to think of it as like sand in an hourglass. And in this case, the sand is kind of the venous and lymphatic fluids that are backed up. And just like the sand goes down the hourglass to the bottom, when you lift and stretch the venous and lymphatic vessels in the intestines, in the abdomen, it helps to relieve that blockage, if you will. Bill talked about the filter in the refrigerator. The same way, instead of a backup, you allow the venous and lymphatic drainage. And we've had really good success with a lot of people with irritable bowel.
And a couple other things that I'd like to add to that as well. So like Dr. Shimoleski was saying before, we don't just have isolated incidents that have occurred in our office, as you see with the articles there. There is research, there's literature out there that shows that other people are getting the results too. So it's not just us that are on to something. This is really a worldwide phenomenon, because we don't just have osteopaths, of course, in Utica and in the United States, but all over the world that are getting similar results. So I think there's something to be said for that. And like Dr. Shimoleski was getting at as well, as far as how we work on these conditions, when you talk about the colon for IBS, two big nerve centers for the colon are T11 to L2, so the bottom of the thoracic spine and the top of the lumbar spine. So we definitely check that, make sure that's moving as well as possible. The sacrum, so the very bottom of the spine, we definitely check that, make sure that's moving well as well. But we can also work on the organs themselves. So it's not just a matter of going after the spine, it's a matter of going after the actual root cause, i.e. the organ itself. And we as osteopaths, with our training, we have the capability to work on all of that stuff.
Dr. Shimoleski, I just want to just wrap it up with you're not saying that medicine is bad, but there are other things that can be done to help solve problems. And that's part one. And then part two, I do think as a society today, we may just automatically rely on medicine when there are other things. There are other things that we can do. And that is, I think, as evident, the most evident example of this right now is Ozempic, where there are a lot of things we could do to lose weight, but instead there's now a pill that has complications. So in a nutshell, if you could talk about all of that. Sorry, I was all over the place there.
Good question.
Well, the short of it is that it's not like medicines are good or bad. In fact, Dr. Zielinski and I talked about there are really only a few medicines that you really have to have, and that might include like something for hypertension to prevent heart attack and stroke, maybe nitroglycerin if you need it, insulin, and thyroid medication. And maybe some rare things to, if you have a pituitary problem and you need to have some stuff. But beyond that, all of these things are pretty much they help us with our quality of life. There's for symptoms. But the best things in life really are free, and it's our immune system, our circulatory system, our musculoskeletal system. And as Andrew Taylor Still, the Civil War surgeon that started osteopathic medicine, he said really that we have the drugstores within our bodies. We have the capability of curing ourselves, but there's usually something, whether it was trauma or genetic disorder, now we know, or other things or infections that kind of block that whole thing. So, if we have a way of physiologically correcting ourselves, because that's where cure comes from. It comes from our body, not from the outside. That's much better. But in the same time, you occasionally need to have things to increase your quality of life. And so people who don't have an answer and are suffering in pain, they need different things, whether it's steroids and all that other stuff.
Again, how people can reach out to you if they're having an issue, and I know for a fact my father will be in your office at some time soon in regards to the nerve pain post shingles, and it's pretty scary when you say this can go on for years, but that's what people say. It can go on for a long time. So how do people get in touch with you?
Sure. So they can call 315-507-4751. That's our main office number, or visit our website at www.falconclinic.com. We'd be happy to take a look at whatever's going on and see what we can do to help you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it greatly, and have a wonderful day, and stay well.
Thank you, as always.
Thank you.
All
Stay
right,
young
Dr.
and healthy.
Shimolis. The young and healthy part, I think the boat has already left the.
Well,
left
hop
the
on the
boatyard.
dinghy.
The boat has left the boatyard and it's taken on water, Doc. I don't know. All right, listen, we're going to get into this issue of, you might have seen the headlines. New York's legislature just passed a new law that basically is making you pay more money for your automobile insurance. And you know what? Technically, that is true. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and it's coming right up. We'll speak with an insurance agent, and also we'll talk to Senator Joe Griffo on this as well. There are ways out of it, and you might not want out of it. We'll explain all of it coming up here. Quick break. It's Thursday morning at WIBX.
Heritage Logging and Tree Removal is your trusted tree removal specialist. With today's extreme weather conditions and new invasive species wreaking havoc on your trees, you need to protect your valuable property and your precious loved ones. As soon as you suspect any problem, call and Heritage Logging will be there to assess your trees and give 24-hour emergency services. For all your tree care needs, call or text 315-796-2941 or visit heritagelogging.com. That's heritagelogging.com.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam. And Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy.
Emailed her.
And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
WIBX 950
Carol,
and 106.9
she's
FM.
calling you at 7:45.
This is Keeler.
Our best. We are giving away the Tom Papa tickets.
You know, this is a lot of responsibility here.
There's a lot here, Jeff.
Putting all these buttons.
Because we are on location, or I'm on location, we'll try to get to the free money question. If not, I'll double up tomorrow and give somebody a big chance to win. Also, Davies giving away Tom Papa tickets. The comedian coming to the Turning Stone Casino. This guy is hilarious. Check him out. And tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 at the box office at the Turning Stone, and also and if you're a rewards member, tickets go on sale today at 10 o'clock for tickets there on all of that. Now, I'll let you handle the Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week, Jeff.
Yes, so we welcome in Smitty. I think it's on 2 here. Sahid Karsik to talk to us about that Most Wanted Person of the Week from Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good. Could you explain to us who you're looking for this week and why?
So this week we are looking for an individual by the name of Elmer, middle initial J, last name Simpson. He's a white male. He's 40 years of age. He's approximately 6 feet 1 inches tall. Weighs approximately 230 pounds. He has brown hair, brown eyes, and currently our office holds 1 bench warrant for out of Oneida County Drug Court for the charge of felony criminal contempt in the first degree. And we're looking for him. We haven't been able to locate him, so we're asking for public's assistance in locating him.
And it's Elmer Simpson, you said?
Yes, sir.
Anybody who knows his whereabouts or who might see him, who should they contact?
They can either submit a anonymous tip through Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers, completely 100% anonymous. We don't know who they are, and they essentially not know who we are. And there's also a compensation, an award that can, if it leads to the capture of Mr. Simpson, that they can claim. Or, and as an alternative, they can also call 911 and say, hey, I know I saw this guy in the news. He's at this location currently.
All right. Excellent. Sahid Karsik, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day. You too. All right, Bill, you still with us?
No, I decided to leave.
Yeah, I would have too.
Could you take my pot out of... Okay, good. Thank you.
There we go.
All right, so... Yeah, I mean, listen, we are on the road this morning, and for that reason, things are a little bit more complicated. In order to take a phone call, it becomes more complicated. So just bear with us, and we'll get through it all. I believe, and I could be dead wrong, that I have Senator Joe Griffo on the line right now. Joe, good morning.
Good morning.
You sound better than I do right now. So
I think you just talked to Dr. Schimmo, right? So
we
you
did
have follow his advice and take the dinghy.
Take the dinghy. You're right. I'm taking on water, Joe. It's not good. Okay, let's talk about this new piece of legislation that is really going to raise people's insurance rates automatically. You don't have to opt in, but you can opt out. Am I correct with this?
That's correct. Let me give you just a basic overview and then kind of what maybe can and should be done. So the purpose of the bill was to require the insurance companies to include supplemental spousal liability insurance, which means it provides coverage to a spouse who may be injured in a motor vehicle accident in which your spouse is at fault. And it's equal to the insured bodily injury liability coverage. So if you're injured in an accident where your spouse is driving, so if Allison was in a car with you and you were at fault, this now would allow Allison to sue the company to cover the medical costs, which presently you have to opt in. The option is available now, but you have to opt in, and many people are unaware of it, so they have not opted in. So in this case now, they automatically enroll you, and you have to opt out. So the opt-out happens if you take that choice. The problem is a lot of people may not be aware of it, just as they were not aware they were not included before. Now they may not be aware that they're automatically included. It prevents the justification they gave, and this was sponsored by the chair of the Insurance Committee, Senator Neil Breslin from the Capital District. The justification they gave was that it prevents coverage from being unknowingly waived. So right now, for instance, if we indicated if you didn't know you could be covered, if somebody didn't explain it to you, you could be in an accident and have a problem.
Yeah,
This way,
yeah.
the thinking they had at least was now you're automatically included, so you can opt out and avoid the annual cost. The cost estimate that they gave was anywhere between $20 to $85. It took effect in August. The governor signed it. It's only for a 5-year period, though. So it was not a permanent kind of situation. And it again was expressed that this should be done to make sure people had the coverage and they could always get out of it, which would also mean that they wouldn't have to take on the increased cost.
And I'll let you merge the calls there. We're talking about something that you might have seen before recently in the headlines, and this is about insurance rates, the fee that you pay to your insurance company going up, and it's only in New York State. And a lot of times they will have these headlines on them that make you think you're being raked over the coals, or this is unfair or unnecessary. But the bottom line is this could be something that could be very important if you are involved in an accident with your spouse in the vehicle. And we're going to be welcoming in, I'll let Bill introduce, this is Carol Forgo with the Forgo Agency to kind of talk about how this works. And we're also talking with Senator Joe Griffo about how the legislation came to be.
So good morning. I really want to get this, get a take on this from an insurance standpoint. And Carol, you're there. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
All right. Thanks for coming in. And by the way, Jeff, this is miraculous, right?
What?
The fact that we're able to put Griffo, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Look at this. This is crazy. I love it. I mean, from a technical aspect, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. All right, let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing here. Carol, from an insurance standpoint, how does the Forgo Agency handle this? Do you notify your customers, or do they have to figure this out on their own? How does this work?
So the companies were tasked with, at the renewals or effective for new business in August, to begin to offer to everybody the supplemental spousal liability coverage. So up until this recent change, we only offered it to people who are married because that's the only people it really affects. So what happens is if you and I are in a car together, I'm driving and I ended up losing control of the car, you get badly injured and have lifelong consequences to your injuries, you could sue and collect a settlement under the bodily injury coverage. But when you're married, you're one person and you cannot sue yourself. So this supplemental spousal liability coverage opened up that language and allowed the spouse to be able to collect a settlement should they have a permanent injury as a result of an accident. So I'm assuming that people who are single and then later got married, it may not have been revisited, that topic, and then they had an accident, and I'm assuming that's why this legislation came about.
Joe, if I'm correct in the previously, it was the opposite, right? It was not automatic, and most times people wound up in these situations where they had no recourse, right? Because it wasn't a part of their insurance. Does that make any sense? Go ahead.
Well, many
Carol.
people end up, if a lot of people, if they go online to purchase their own coverage, they don't know what they're looking at, and they may not choose it. But that's because they're choosing to be, their own expert.
Right.
So, as I said, I think that the innocent victims in this were the ones who maybe later got married and nobody offered that coverage to them.
Right.
So now what's happening is everybody is being offered the coverage and they can decline it, or, they can accept it. If they know, they're getting married likely in another year or two and they don't want to think about, do I have to remember to add this later? It's very minimal in cost. We've seen it is like $8-9 a year per car. Some people might be $25. Just depends on,
But Carol, if you could clarify this, it is automatically now with this legislation, it will be automatically put on your policy unless you opt out.
That's correct.
Okay,
It'll be,
all right.
yes, you would have to sign a
You have to-
declination.
Yep. All right. Well, Carol, I appreciate the information and the clarification. I think that headlines, though, that as Jeff was talking about, we've been seeing headlines that are saying New York legislators just increased your automobile insurance and you don't have a choice. Those headlines are definitely a little misleading. Now, if you don't pay attention, I guess that could be the case.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is if you're married, you should carry this coverage.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting stuff, Carol Forgo. Thank you for the time. We appreciate it. I'll let you just hang up and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Thank you. So that explains a lot of it, Joe. However, what do you say to people? Because I believe you voted for this. What do you say to people who say, "I can't believe you just raised my automobile insurance"?
So it was. Carol's points were well made, talking about automatic enrollment with the opt-out, the impact on half of New Yorkers or most New Yorkers, and the new costs, as I discussed earlier. And it was passed almost unanimously. I think there was only like 1 or 2 nay votes. And the important thing here is it was passed, and this is a problem with much of this legislation that we see at the end of session. It's passed on the second to last day. Hundreds of bills are being presented. And the sponsor, the memo that you're reading, made it sound like it would work, but there are concerns. And I think the consternation that some have expressed is legitimate. The provision does expire in 5 years. But in the meantime, I would urge the sponsor, who has said publicly that he would look to amend some of this now that has been passed based upon some of the media reports and based upon further conversations maybe with the industry. So while I believe it's important for these drivers to have the ability to purchase this supplemental spousal liability insurance, we also got to be cognizant of the impact of these rising premiums could have on drivers.
Yeah.
So I think this is a case now where we can, as I said, the governor signed it into law and expressed some similar concerns. And that's why I think there was the 5-year period so that it automatically reverts back to what it was before. But it gives the opportunity now for the legislature to address, particularly the insurance committee, which I'm not a member of, and the chair of the committee, who is now looking at this saying, well, maybe there are certain things that can and should be done while it's well intended, as a discussion occurs with the industry on cost and how it affects or impacts potential policyholders. What could be and should be done to amend this? And I'm open to anything that would be under consideration.
I have this from Donna. What is that, Jeff?
I'm sorry. We just got a message. Smitty, thank you, buddy. You are important to my morning. Smitty ran down the hall to get me another cup of coffee, and John in New Hartford messaged in and said, "Hey, can you have Davey come bring me a cup of coffee too?"
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and if he could do that for me, that would be really nice too. But I just need a water. Okay, so this, and by the way, this was sent in from Donna, Joe. And Donna, thank you for that. And by the way, she is watching on YouTube. And Jeff, we've talked about this, how easy it is once you search for Keeler live stream on YouTube, how easy it is to log onto this thing every single day and watch on TV and be able to see the nice things Davey does for you. How easy it is.
Yeah, absolutely. All you have to
simple.
do, you can share it off your phone. What do they call that? The screen share, the imaging, mirroring, and then it's real simple.
Or you can watch it on your TV.
On your TV,
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Donna sent this. It is a letter that was sent to her from her insurance company, supplemental spousal liability insurance declination. So you can decline. I hereby decline. And by the way, hers was going to be, Joe, $12.60 a month, or $12.60 a year for this insurance. But she's not married, so she declined and opted out of it. I think where this gets tricky, though,
is everybody.
And where it gets tricky is for people who don't pay any attention and don't open their mail and don't keep on top of these things. it's going to be an automatic increase, whether it's $10, $8, or $20. It's going to be an automatic increase on their bill. However, Joe, it's really the responsibility of the person to be able to keep track of your affairs here. I hate to say that, but it is.
And hopefully, though, there'll be communications between your agent and the company and the individual. I think you're seeing that. Companies, I think most companies, and I think Carol made that point very well, they're going to reach out and say, hey, this is now a new law. This is the impact it will have on you. This is what it does. What would you like to do? And I think if that communication happens beyond the letter, that would be helpful, obviously. So that's the hope. But also, as I indicated earlier, there's an opportunity here for the legislature, and it's reflected by comments that the chair of the insurance committee has made, that they're willing to review this and to make any amendments that may be necessary also to try to avoid any unnecessary financial impact on the individual. And we got to remember, though, a lot of costs, though, too, are what we're facing right now, too, Bill, unfortunately, is through inflation as well as the cost of vehicles. So you're seeing as vehicles costs rise, you're seeing that impact on insurance policies, too.
I was gonna, if I can, I was going to make the point that I'm so glad. That was a great segue, Senator. Some people are up in arms, and some in the media are like, how could you do this? You're charging people an extra $8, whether it's $8 a month or $8 a year.
You're fleecing America here.
Right. Meanwhile, everyone has to have an electric vehicle that costs $60,000 in the next 8 years. Right?
Yeah, you're right. I just find, though, that there's so many of these, Joe, there's so many of these clickbait stories out there that take an irresponsible stance on something in order to get people riled up, in order to get clicks. And that's really what I feel those stories were. At the same time, if you're a single guy or a single female and you're not paying attention, you're going to be paying an extra $8, $10, $20 for your insurance, and you don't even realize it. What happens after 5 years? What happens? Because you wouldn't have to opt in because you're automatically opted in. Does the legislation just dissolve after 5 years?
That is correct. It would revert back to what it was previously.
That doesn't make any sense either. Right.
Well,
the point I made.
The idea is that you guys would take action, and the thought that they'll go back and amend this, I mean, we saw this with bail reform. They can have the best intentions, but it doesn't mean it's actually going to change.
Yeah. I also would like to know, it doesn't mean it's actually. I also would like to know, Joe, who are the 2 or 3 that voted against it?
I don't have that information right now.
You're not going to out them?
I don't have the information right now.
Okay.
I want to know how I look on YouTube today, though.
You look good, Joe. You look good.
Thanks.
Actually, we can't see you on YouTube, so we can hear you though, and the sound is spot on. So, all right, Joe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the week.
All right, you take care.
All right, thanks so much, Senator Joe Griffo. Jeff, the reason we're talking about this story is because we've had several people reach out and say, "Can you believe the legislature just did this?" But when you dig in deeper, you find there's much more to the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you find out the justification. If I can quickly give a comment here, this came from Chris and Alien, and unfortunately I didn't see the comment until after we said goodbye to Carol, but it was, please ask the insurance person if we have to notify your insurance company once you have a 16-year-old child driving. Chris says, I've been told you don't have to notify them, but it's recommended. And she said, I think it would be a good question to ask. We often talk about it now that our kids are becoming of the driving age. And
well, I got to say that I don't know the answer to the question, although I do think that they would automatically be covered, right? Because you have to be covered under New York State insurance. But I'll tell you something that happened to us. So, and do I have time? Is that 58?
You got a minute.
Yeah.
You got a minute.
I got about a minute. All right. So my daughter goes off to college. She turns 17 years old, and now all of a sudden our insurance company is charging us more because my daughter is driving. But she's spending all of her time, including summer classes, at college. She's not driving our car. Why should I have to pay? So I called my insurance company, and they'll offer you're still going to pay more just because you have the kid. That blows my mind. But they will reduce it significantly They'll reduce it significantly if you let them know your kid is away to college and they're not driving your car. But ultimately, you're going to end up paying a little bit more, or a lot more if you don't have them reduce it. We had it reduced. You can also lie to them. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but yeah, I guess you could lie to them. Be careful with that. Got a break. We have news straight ahead on WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Former President Trump did something wrong. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is all in a new Fox News poll.
Former President Trump has repeatedly spoken out about the multiple criminal cases against him. He's criticized the judges, the prosecutors, even the pundits involved. Now we know where he stands in the court of public opinion.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House, where the former president hopes to return.
53% of people saying they believe he did something illegal, 20% saying something wrong, not illegal, and 24% saying nothing seriously wrong.
Among Republican voters, the Trump lead in the 2024 races at 37 points ahead of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy is at 11% in third place, but that's still 42 points back at Trump. Now back to the Trump legal issues. The DA in Georgia overseeing the fourth Trump indictment, accusing him of trying to overturn the state's election results, has proposed a March 4th trial date.
Just weeks before his proposed trial date for that hush money case out of New York. Now remember, Trump was charged with falsifying business records out of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office. This would also be just weeks after special counsel Jack Smith's proposed trial date of January 2nd for a separate case related to the 2020 election.
Fox's Brooks Sigmund, the federal judge overseeing that elections case in Washington, has been threatened. The Texas woman arrested, also accused of threatening to kill Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. It's up to 111 people dead in the wildfire devastated Maui, where Fox Weather's Robert Ray reports.
And there still is the search for human remains. And on top of that, people, locals are wanting to know how the fire started, trying to figure out exactly, why the sirens didn't go off, why more alerts were not given to people.
More than 1,000 remain unaccounted for. In North Carolina, Republican state lawmakers have overridden Democratic Governor Roy Cooper vetoes. One law bans gender-affirming medical care for minors, another prohibits transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting the heroes who risk life and limb in the line of duty ever since. Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2019, days before Christmas. He left behind his wife and 5 children. Tunnel to Towers immediately paid off their mortgage thanks to your generosity. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Former President Trump's legal issues have dominated all the news coverage about the 2024 White House race. When it comes to issues, he sat down with Fox Business's Larry Kudlow for an interview that'll air at 4 p.m. Eastern today. The former president blames the surge in inflation last year on high energy prices and says,
you'll be able to buy an electric car, but you're going to be able to buy every form of car that's made. You've got to have choice, like in school. We want school choice. We want choice for buying cars and washing machines.
1 year after President Biden signed the law no Republicans supported called the Inflation Reduction Act, he celebrated at the White House.
Lawmakers, cabinet officials, and stakeholders gathered here with President Biden to celebrate the first anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act.
And one of the most significant laws I think has ever been enacted. Taking on the special interest and winning.
The law invests billions in clean energy manufacturing, tax credits, and forces negotiations for lower drug prices. But it has not boosted polling numbers for President Biden on his handling of the economy.
We have always known that the benefits will be delivered over time.
Domestic Policy Council Director Neera Tanden compares the legislation to the Obama-era Affordable Care Act, saying it took a little bit of time for support to build. At the White House,
Phil,
Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The U.S. says it cannot verify what North Korea says the American soldier who fled there last month is saying, claiming Private Travis King suffered discrimination in the Army and is unhappy with American inequality. Now, there's more worry about North Korea.
South Korean intelligence.
Sorry, the guests in next, Lucas brought the guy who did the music, the song, or that video, and I'm just going to have him do it to the regular mic because I don't want to make it sound bad on the board. A little bit of sunshine and 62 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:05. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. For the 12th time since 2021, a gun has been detected at the TSA checkpoint at Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Earlier this week, an officer spotted a loaded weapon as it went through an X-ray machine. The man who owns the weapon is an Oneida County resident who does have a permit for the gun, but he now faces a possible fine for having a gun at the airport. The New York State Department of Health says mosquitoes carrying disease have been found in Oswego and Onondaga counties, not far from Oneida County. Insects with West Nile virus were recently discovered in West Monroe and Hastings. Mosquitoes in the town of Cicero, meanwhile, also tested positive for eastern equine encephalitis. Residents who live in the areas are asked to take precautions to protect themselves from getting bit by mosquitoes, like wearing insect repellent or having on long clothing. Meanwhile, Oneida County health officials issuing another warning following a recent spike in drug overdoses. First responders were called to 9 drug overdose incidents last weekend, 2 in the city of Rome and 7 in the city of Utica. It resulted in 1 fatality. Heroin and methamphetamine, along with other drugs yet to be identified, are suspected to be responsible for the overdoses, possibly fentanyl as well. It's believed that in many cases, those drugs are laced with fentanyl. The 9 overdose incidents last weekend brings the total in Oneida County up to 14 this month. In all of the non-fatal incidents, naloxone was administered by either bystanders or first responders, which officials say successfully reversed the drug overdoses and saved lives. Colgate University mourning the death of longtime football coach Dick Biddle at the age of 75. Biddle led the Raiders to the program's only appearance in a national championship game back in 2003. He won 137 games in his career, which lasted 18 seasons. Biddle is also the winningest coach in the history of the Patriot League, and the league's Coach of the Year award is named in his honor. No word yet on a memorial service and when that will be taking place for Biddle. And the State Fair, under a week away, and organizers have revealed the calendar of special events that will be happening during this year's fair. The fun begins on opening day, August 23rd, and continues with Student Youth Day on August 24th, Pride Day on August 25th, and Law Enforcement Day on August 28th. Other special days include Women's Day, Armed Forces Day, and Apple Day. You can get more information and the list of concerts and all the special days at nysfair.ny.gov. WIBX News Time is 8:08. Could see some rain showers today, but otherwise a decent day on tap. Here's what we can expect from Eyewitness News.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, lots of sun, breezy, warmer, an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon, but mainly dry, near 85. Tonight, clouds increase, downpours and storms develop, near 65. Friday, quite breezy, turning cooler, showers and thunderstorms through midday. Then some sun, then new scattered lake effect rain showers by evening, near 70. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
All right, in sports, the Mets take the rubber match against the Pirates, a final of 8-3. DJ Stewart had 2 home runs. Pete Alonso went deep as well, his 36th home run of the season. The Mets now move on to hit the road. They'll open up a series in St. Louis against the Cardinals, a 4-game set tonight. The Yankees lose to the Braves again. Another shutout. 2-0 was the final. Aaron Judge recorded one of 4 Yankees hits, but he was also one of 3 players who struck out 3 times. The Yankees have fallen under 500, now 60-61. They begin a series against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium starting tomorrow. Week 2 of the NFL season kicks off tonight as the Cleveland Browns visit the Philadelphia Eagles. The action continues with 2 games on Friday. The Giants host the Panthers, and the Bengals head south to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Giants are getting some reinforcements on their offensive line. Right tackle Evan Neal cleared concussion protocol yesterday and practiced with a non-contact jersey. Neal suffered a concussion during practice earlier this month. He could suit up for the preseason game tomorrow, not sure yet. Meanwhile, free agent Justin Pugh says he is open to returning to the Giants. A Jetstar quarterback says he's not concerned about protection. Aaron Rodgers spoke to the media yesterday after his team gave up 6 sacks in a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Super Bowl winning QB said his concern is pretty low. Rodgers went on to say, I don't get concerned about things I don't have a huge role in yet. New York's line also struggled during a joint practice with the Panthers last week. The Jets kick off against the Buccaneers for a preseason showdown at MetLife Stadium coming up on Saturday night. WIBX News Time is 8:11. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM. Back after this.
Do you feel like your current checking account just isn't working for you anymore? Maybe monthly fees are cutting into your already tight budget. Or maybe you're looking for more convenience with additional bells and whistles that allow you to accomplish more with less work. Whatever your reason, it might be a great time for you to check out the lineup of accounts at Adirondack Bank. From no-frills basic accounts to paperless high-yield accounts, we're sure to have the perfect solution for your needs. We also offer a large selection of extras such as customizable debit cards, electronic statements, online banking and bill pay, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. We also have a great client services team ready to answer your questions with our live chat. Visit our website at www.adkbank.com. Use the checking comparison tool and see which options are best for you. That's adkbank.com. Member FDIC.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
Go green and save green right now at City Suburban. There has never been a better way to heat and cool your home than with a new Mitsubishi electric heat pump system from City Suburban. They provide energy-efficient comfort year-round, are whisper quiet, 40% more efficient than conventional systems, and offer room-by-room temperature control. And the best part is right now you can save up to $9,000 in rebates with the New York State Clean Heat Program while funds are available. Go green and make the switch today, and as always, receive City Suburban's POMG. That's peace of mind guarantee.
This is Chris from City Suburban on Route 233 in Westmoreland. There has never been a better time to upgrade your system than right now. You can save up to $9,000 with New York State Clean Heat rebates and make your home more comfortable and efficient for years to come. Call us today at 853-3899. That's 853-3899. Or visit us at citysuburban.com.
Each store independently owned and operated and not part of a chain or cooperative buying group.
You don't need to drive all around.
Come to Santa Cotton Valley, best prices in town. Save on every bottle, every case, every day. Our 40-mile price match backs you all the way.
Picked just for you, only from us. You won't believe the taste of the Boss Prosecco. Don't pay $14.99 because we have the Boss Prosecco on sale for just $9.99. We tasted 3 excellent Bordeaux's and bought the entire barrel. Originally $14.99 to $16.99. We're blowing them out for just $9.99. And for you Cabernet lovers, it's Bound Cabernet from Sonoma's Alexander Valley, and it's priced at just $16.99. All of these deals are while supplies last. Only at Seneca Wine and Liquor in New Hartford and Valley Wine and Liquor in Herkimer.
We're one big family with 2 great stores, ready to save you more.
If you're looking for flooring, boy, do I have the perfect place for you. This is Bill Keeler, and I highly recommend Sarah's Flooring Outlet, the area's leading flooring store. They have the absolute largest inventory in Central New York, and it's a brand new store at the Route 49 Plaza in Marcy. And if you're looking for Pergo Extreme, they have a price guarantee anywhere in the area within a 60-mile radius of their store. It's a pretty awesome deal, and you know you're going to get the best deal at Insera's. Log on to their website at inserasflooringoutlet.com and sign up to save $50 off your next purchase of $500 or more. You can shop online or in the store. You will not find a better selection than Insera's Flooring Outlet. See why more people buy from the big store. Its selection, its price, and it's a 6-month interest-free financing. Log on to the website, inserasflooringoutlet.com, and see for yourself, or visit their store. Insera's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road in Marcy.
Adirondack Home Furniture is the area's go-to store for top-quality, durable, American-made pieces for any room. And all month long, Adirondack Home Furniture is having a summer sale event on select floor pieces. Stop in and check out their hot summer buys all month long through Labor Day weekend. Lowest prices of the season on all Flex Steel and Smith Brothers upholstery. Are you looking for a better night's sleep? Then
So no, they're in studio. It's Buckley and Lucas, and then 2 other guests as well. But one of them is going to sing. And what I was saying is, can I do it through the main microphones we have here? Because I don't know how to run that sideboard you have. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to, and I don't want to make it sound bad. All right, we are back. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX 950 AM, 106.9 FM. And we say good morning again to Bill, who was on remote this morning, or on location this morning. Good morning, Bill. How you doing?
I feel like a remote.
Yes.
A little bit today. Okay. I got all this stuff going on at once here, and you're bringing people in the studio. You'll be able to see that on YouTube, by the way. Paul Buckley, is he in studio? Paul,
yes, he is. Good morning, Buck.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you? Bill, you sound like you're right in the studio. That's a great feed you got coming in. Where is he, by the way?
I am in this. I'm in Guatemala right now. We're doing the world tour.
I can't hear a thing.
You can't hear me. Okay, so explain what's going on. I know that you guys have some music coming up. There's this short film / music event is happening this weekend, and it's going to be a cool thing. Paul, if you could explain how this was born, and then beyond that, what's going on this weekend?
Well, it all started a while back when Lucas was my intern at City Hall, and he became, I tried to discourage him from filmmaking, but he became a filmmaker out in La La Land. Came back here about 2 months ago did a little music video down on Bouchard Lane and other places in the city. And the city looks great on film. So he did that. Then he has this idea of doing something with the music fest. Like, remember the Utica Music and Arts Festival?
Yes.
It was Joe Sweet and Ricky Z, Anthony Z. Donaldson.
Yeah.
But anyway, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like, so he wants to start something like that up and bring life back down into the city of Utica, which I'm all on board for. So talking during the filming and stuff like that, he came up with this idea with Michelle Classic, and I think it's a great idea. And it's a little festival that he wants to make it to an annual event. And so he's got film set up. He's got to debut the music video that he shot here in Utica. He's bringing musicians in with him and arts and crafts people and stuff like that. So it's going to be like a little arts festival. And it's going to be on Varick Street on Saturday. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And he's been selling it all over town. He's been doing a great job doing that. And I'm telling you, he's got a golden tongue. He could sell a fireman a burning house. That's how good he is. All right.
What was that? Sell a fireman a burning house.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
All
how.
right.
That's
I
how.
like it.
That's how good he is. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and he's just going to wow your audience. I mean, the place will be people will be flocking down here when he gets done. I'm telling you right now.
Okay. All right. All right.
Man,
Cool.
But here's Luke Sunderland.
You're really setting the bar up for me, Buck. Man, thank you. First of all, thanks for having us, guys. We really appreciate being in the studio here with you today. So yeah, I think Buck touched on a lot of the main points. We're going to be hosting a music, art / film festival. It's all things art, all things Utica, kind of all packed into one day. We're going to have 5 bands performing as of right now, with an open mic night in the beginning and at the end of the event as well. Roughly around 10 p.m., we're going to be premiering the short film that Paul was referring to that my crew and I shot back here in May. It is a visual piece to accompany my dear friend Nick Vanderwood, who is with us today in the studio as well.
Hello. How's
Morning,
it going?
Nick. How you doing?
Good
Doing
morning.
good.
So talk about this was it was supposed to be a music video for the song, is that right? And
Yeah.
then it became something bigger. Explain that.
So yeah, we've kind of been struggling to really justify kind of like our creative process here, I guess you could say. So it started off originally as Nick played a demo for me back in maybe what was it, October? I want to
last
say
October, yeah.
And it was something that we were kind of just sitting in our kitchen, enjoying a meal, and he played the song for me, and I was like, I really, really like this song. And we were just kind of spitballing this idea, and we had this whole conversation about this visual I had for it. And at the end of the conversation, I was like, yeah, this is cool. Wait, whose song is this? And he's like, dude, it's mine. I was like, oh, okay, fantastic. I was like, so we had this idea. It was very spontaneous. We decided to just kind of go after it because it was fun. It was exciting. It was something new. And, he really, pushed me along and motivated me. But it started off as just this video. And we were always wanted to, shoot it in Utica because it was kind of, we were going for a very particular kind of 1970s, 1980s fusion with the aesthetic. And, a lot of the architecture here in the city kind of accommodates, visual language that, is in that realm. So, when we shot it here, we always wanted to kind of bring it back to Utica because, it's a Utica film. It was born here. We want to bring it back to people to, share it with the community. And it was originally just going to be the film and Nick going on after and playing some of his new music that he has that's about to release coming up soon. And then after that, and with some conversations with some community leaders, my good friend Michelle Classic, talking about a lot how, Michelle's very passionate about music and arts in the area, wanting to bring more stuff back. It was something that, again, the idea just kind of grew. And then the Dreamland Theater, I'm not sure if we've mentioned this yet, but that was actually in 1920 in 624 Varick Street, where Sickenburger currently is. The Dreamland Theater was a silent movie theater that actually used to be in that plot of land. So it was something that, in homage to that, to, the deep history we have here in our downtown area, we're really trying to tap into, that old respect for culture and the arts that used to have a home right in the heart of our city, and kind of trying, revive that a little bit for today's generation and bring something new to the community, especially for, the young people in our community that are really starving for a venue like this.
Awesome. Nick, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Are you from here? How'd you get to know Lucas? Let's learn a little about you.
Yeah, so I'm from New York Mills, small little town,
Oh, yeah.
right outside of Utica. We both went to Mills. We met each other in 4th grade, so we've known each other for most of our lives. And we've always been really inspired by each other. We share the same interests, same music, same movies, all that kind of stuff. So it's just perfect as we've gotten older. He's expanded in film, and I've sort of expanded in music. I've spent a majority of, I guess you'd say, my career here in Utica, but I just recently moved. Last think last September.
Mhm.
So not even a year yet, and I'm back. And I took a little break from playing for a while, but the past couple of years I recorded my debut album here at Big Blue North on Varick Street. And of course, at the same time, I'm also recording home demos. So I'm just like always recording in different formats, different.
He's always recording.
I'm always. I've got something on my mind. I'm like, okay, I got to put this down now because if I don't, I'm gonna lose it. So it's just become a habit. So I guess generally, grew up in Mills, small little town, and trying to expand outward and do something like this, especially a festival. It's like. It's so exciting because it's so much bigger than like we've never done anything like this, and it's pretty insane. And especially to to make a short film and like to throw a festival to play all this music, it's just so exciting.
We definitely bit off going for it, man.
Yeah, no, do it. You're already in it, so you might as well.
Too late
we got to do it. We have no choice.
So, what's that, Buck?
Nothing. I'll just say a word.
Tell us a little. Obviously, we're going to get a flavor of it in a second here, but tell us about your music, the type of music you play, and why it's your passion.
Yeah, so I guess generally, it's always really tough for me to explain it because I feel like I mesh a lot of different styles. I guess rock is the most generalized form of it, but I would say like alternative, psychedelic, funk. I try to mix styles. A lot of times, it's not me thinking about how I'm like what I'm making, like, okay, I'm gonna write this particular song. A lot of times it's just this is what it is, and I'm not thinking too much about it, which is really cool because it's like you can be the most creative and you can expand into this is more of like a goth sound, this is more of a retro, this is more funk. So that's sort of what we dive into in this in this short film music video Shimmy. And he picked up on the vibes. It's sort of got the 70s, 80s kind of thing going on. And he picked up on the vibe in the music and translated it in a visual manner. And it's really cool because it was subconscious. It's not something I told him, okay, I want to do this 70s, 80s vibe. It's like I didn't have to tell him. He sort of picked up on it.
Yeah. So is Shimmy the name of the song?
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to play that for us here?
Actually, no. So I'll be playing.
Okay.
There's actually quite a bit, I guess I have to say, because I recorded the debut album here, 10 songs. Shimmy was the demo to begin with. And it's actually a B-side to the album, so it never made it. So when I showed him, he's like, "Oh, we have to do it," and I thought it was kind of funny. I just recorded a whole album, and we're not even doing a video to something that was like professionally recorded. We probably get to that at some point, but so it's pretty exciting that we just went with the demo because it just was striking, and the energy of it was enough for us to fulfill it.
Awesome.
And so I'll probably be playing a tune from the album. Not from the EP. So that's the thing. I have an EP coming out next month called Reload. It's got 3 songs with a shimmy on it. And then I'm probably going to slowly roll out singles right after that EP, probably November into 2024. So.
Sure. And how do we find you online? Like, where should people go? They want to hear your music other than what we're about to play for them right now.
Yeah, if you just search Nick Vanderwood, just on everything, any streaming platform. If you got Spotify Music, YouTube Music, whatever, I should be on all platforms. You can find me on Facebook, Nick_Vanderwood. Yep.
All right, cool. So, are you ready to go? You need a little.
I think. Is
there
any?
I can bide time a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You got something else to say? Yeah.
We're going to go back to Lucas for a second. We'll talk more about the festival tomorrow. I didn't know if he needed a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he'll be performing Saturday. I said tomorrow.
Yes.
The festival's happening on Saturday on Varick Street, right outside of or at. Help me out here.
Yeah. So Paul was just mentioning that I should mention that another local artist, Sydney Irving, is going to be performing, who I believe may have been on this show recently. I'm not sure. But,
Yeah, I want to know who else will be performing. Sydney
gotcha.
Irving.
Yeah, Sydney Irving and the Mojo. Just met Sydney for the first time the other day. She's fantastic, an artist out of Syracuse. Is gonna, her and her band are gonna come in, and they're definitely gonna rock. They've been doing really, really impressive stuff in the area recently. And also a group out of Albany called Levada. They're fantastic. They were actually an official South by Southwest artist, I believe, last year. Then we also have the Jake Lozo Band, or I think it's just Jake Lozo Band. We had an entire discussion on the group chat about this, whether the was there. I believe the verdict was it's just Jake Lozo Band.
Okay.
But another fantastic local group. There is a band from, I believe out of Whitesboro called Filled to the Brim. A bunch of young individuals, I believe. I believe in most of their band, I think the average age is about 18 years old, and they're really great. So we're excited to have them as well.
That's awesome.
And then Uptown Improv is also going to be doing an hour of comedy. And again, we're going to have the short film. And then all in between, there's going to be art vendors that are going to be displaying their work, selling their work, food trucks as well. So it's going to be a really action-packed event.
That's awesome. That is this Saturday. The times again?
Yep, this Saturday. Doors are going to open at 5 p.m. and we're going to go roughly till when the bar closes or whenever they kick us out.
So do you want to play a little something? We're gonna. Well, you got the mic there for your voice. We'll slide.
I'm gonna
Lucas. We'll slide that other mic over to his guitar if we can. Yeah.
Hello, yeah. WIBX. Good morning.
Well, you have a very powerful voice.
Oh, thank you. I tend to use it way too much.
Bring that guitar up just a little bit, Jeff.
It has made my life and has destroyed my life now.
Yep. There we go.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
See if I can do this. Early mornings are pretty brutal, but try to get funky. Good to go.
Does that sound all right? You know what?
Check.
We'll step aside for 60 seconds. Let me not botch your debut here on IBX. Let me not do that. So we'll step aside for just a moment. We'll come right back. A live performance in studio. And again, there is the festival going on this weekend on Varick Street. We'll remind you of all those details coming up in a second. Stay tuned. We're back right after this.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled.
Yes, I can.
Touch the sun and we'll run away. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Cannot believe the synchronicity. Tell me the joke again, I want to laugh. Is there actually a way I could get more vocal in the headphones by chance? Or oh, cool, beautiful, perfect. Actually, I didn't even see that. Cool. Tell me the joke again, I want to laugh. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Can I believe? Yep. Cool.
I'm sorry, Bill. Because I had those two mics on, I couldn't hear if you were talking. Yeah, they seem happy with it too.
Do you feel like your current checking account just isn't working for you anymore? Maybe monthly fees
I've
are
got you
cutting
in
into
queue to
your
hear you.
already tight budget. Or maybe you're looking for more convenience with additional bells and whistles that allow you to accomplish more with less work. Whatever your reason, it might be a great time for you to check out the lineup of accounts at Adirondack Bank. From no-frills basic accounts to paperless high-yield accounts, we're sure to have the perfect solution for your needs. We also offer a large selection of extras such as customizable debit cards, electronic statements, online banking and bill pay, mobile banking, and mobile deposit. visit. We also have a great client services team ready to answer your questions with our live chat. Visit our website at www.adkbank.com. Use the checking comparison tool and see which options are best for you. That's adkbank.com. Member FDIC.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right,
on a
there you
Thursday morning, and got a whole bunch in studio. A big short film / music festival going on Saturday on Varick Street. And Manansky, I'll let you do the introduction, but we're going to hear a little music. I think you've done. This is your first time mixing music in studio, Jeff. This is a big moment for you.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger moment for Nick than it is for me. But hopefully I just don't screw it up. This is Nick Vanderwood, and he will be among those performing at the festival that is going on Saturday. Nick, if you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so the song is called Touch the Sun. It's the single off my debut album that will be coming out probably next year at this point, which will be called Touch the Sun as well. So, yeah.
Catching a breeze, smoking the trees, carry the wood to a smoldering fire. No one around to feel a bother, sadly I'm growing a little bit fonder. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Cannot believe the synchronicity. Tell me that joke again, I want to laugh. Caught up in someone else's mess, don't underestimate a gift. You know that's meant to be. Now would have thought I'd ever want my life to be. Son of a gun, you aren't listening. All said and done, I'll just reset the dream. Touch the sun and we'll run away. Touch the sun and we'll run away.
That was great. I do love that song. And it usually, I'm the type of person where I got to hear it 2 or 3 times. You get a feel for it and you like it. That is a great little song you got there.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me pull your mic back up there, and then Lucas, you are up as well, and Bill, I got you back up here as well.
That was awesome.
That was
Nice
really
job,
good.
guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, this is Touch the Sun.
Touch the Sun. So you'll be on Varick Street Saturday. Give us the details one more time before we let you guys go.
So Saturday, 5 p.m., doors are opening. We got entertainment all day, all night. We got 5 live bands. We got a DJ going on after. We have Uptown Improv somewhere in between. We got food. We got art vendors, art displays, singing, dancing, having fun. So come down. It's a day for the community. We're trying to bring more stuff like this back to the area. Trying to show that there is a community in Utica, New York that still likes to party. So, if you got time, if you got energy, please, we'd love to have you down there. We're trying to see as many of Utica as we can. So,
Okay, am I on?
Yes, you are, Buck.
Okay, before you let us go.
Despite my objections, your mic is on.
I had to switch myself in. So before we go, I'd like to say that Lucas is also a filmmaker, and that was part of the deal what he came here to talk about. He's proposing a television series, kind of like the Nick Lasso type series with
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. I'm sorry. Wow. Wow. Tell me the joke again, right? So anyway.
Wow.
So anyway, he wants to film it right here in Utica. That's why I'm involved with this, because it's going to be a show about a basketball team, and I'm going to hand it over to Luke again because it just has to be with Stash Babiars, who just recently passed away, God rest his soul, and it's all about him and his basketball team. So Luke, take it away, please.
Yeah. So we've my team and I back in LA have been kind of in pre-production stages. We had a concept for a television show a while back. So the Utica Wreckers were a 1970s semi-professional basketball team here in Utica. And my grandfather, Jim Klein, was the head coach, and he worked alongside Stash Babiars, who was the general manager of the team. And I grew up, listening to, from the back seat of from my grandpa's Lincoln, just him telling me stories, which, I don't even know if they're true or not. But again, it was just chronicles of how they put this team together. The people, the players that would come in and out were kind of like an island of misfit toys, from like the has-beens and the wannabes of the NBA to like ex-players from Syracuse University. And they really just, they assembled this team from nothing, and they had a short run in the early 70s. And, I think the Wreckers team, evolved into many stages. I know they were the Olympians or Olympias at one point. I think they were the T-Birds at one point as well, because I think, this is really funny, I think Stash and my grandpa were both driving T-Birds at one point. So they're the Utica Thunderbirds, I think, for a brief stint, which is, I don't know, that's funny. I just think of like you like renaming your band 20 times in high school. So, yep. Similar energy. But we put together a sort of, we have the first couple episodes written. We have a whole story kind of put together of it's a limited series as it stands right now. It's, mainly comedy, part drama about, just a snapshot into 1970s Utica and, what it was like to, just ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things.
And you have Stash on video, his last recording. Correct?
Yeah, actually, yeah. We when we came back here in May, I definitely had the privilege of spending some time with Stash, who again, if those who know Stash know exactly, how meaningful he was, not just to his community, to his family, but to everybody he interacted with. He was really a special guy, and to be able to have the chance to sit down and pick his brain and interview him a little bit on the topics, just to again, know the person that we were writing about and really bring him to life.
Right.
We
Such
talked
a privilege.
This morning. We were talking about his passing, and again, I didn't have a bio. I didn't know this about him, but I just know, being involved in a lot of community events, he was always there. He was always wearing red, white, and blue.
Absolutely.
Always had a big smile on his face, and everybody knew him, and everybody loved him. And somebody sent me, like, as a matter of fact, Kevin, who listens to the program, sent me last night. Actually went up to his house because there's an amazing tribute. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see it yet, no, but I'm hopefully going to be seeing the family the next couple of days at his services to pay my respects. So
they lined his whole property with American flags, and then the New York Mills Fire Department went and they draped their huge American flag kind of over his home, his driveway there.
Yeah, he deserves all that and more, man. He was, very, very special man, and our
great
community
guy.
was lucky to have him. So.
Major loss. You're right.
So if this project does come to fruition, it's going to bring a whole production team into Utica, and they'll be spending millions of dollars. There'll be lots of acting opportunities and stuff like that. So I'm on board for that. I love the thought of that. So it's a dream right now, but it could be very well reality here in Utica.
Sure.
Where they're doing this TV show. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and I'm relying on Luke to get this done.
And if that doesn't work, we got plenty of other ideas that we're hoping to bring back to the area too.
Right.
So
Very cool. Where is the festival, by the way? It's on Varick Street, but where?
Yep. So it's going to be, actually, we have official confirmation, so I believe we could say this on the airwaves now. Now that we have a permit, I have a permit in my car in case we get yelled at. So it's the main stage is going to be at
Watch what you say.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
This is your job I'm gambling with. Here's his house money. But anyway, the main stage is going to be at Sickenburger Lane, which is 624 Varick Street, kind of right on that plot there. And then we have a permit that reads that we will be allowed to be in the street portion right in front of that, kind of from Columbia to Cooper Street. We're going to have food trucks again, art displays. So we're going to have a little bit more space to maneuver there. So it's going to be a good time.
So, Buck, the mayor gets to shut down Varick Street after all.
Excuse me?
No comment.
I think my headphones are broken. I didn't hear what you said.
That's all right. All right, guys, we appreciate it. It'll be a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. And Paul, as always, thank you, sweetheart.
Love you, honey. You know that. You sound great, man. Thank you, Billy.
We'll do a quick break and come back. I've got some of the. I'll explain it when I come back. And then John Decker coming up before we get out of here. Stand by. It is what time? 8:44 at WIBX.
Enjoy a group outing this summer at Saratoga Racecourse. Reservations are now available for the climate-controlled paddock suite, accommodating 80 guests. And for large-scale corporate gatherings at the rail at the 1863 Club, head down the stretch to the Stella Artois Spa verandas for groups of 50, or tailgate at the turn with a carload of friends. For casual outdoor gatherings under cover, featuring buffet lunch with Prosecco offerings. Enjoy the Mionetto Easy Goer. Visit Naira.com to book your Saratoga group outing today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Bill Cole from Gates Cole Insurance with exciting news. We are expanding with a couple of new offices in our area. One new location is North Country Estates Insurance in Lowville. They are another independent insurance agency that takes pride in making customers happy and fits our culture at Gates Cole perfectly. Here is William Schaub from the newest Gates Cole agency, North Country Estates Insurance in Lowville.
Working with us as an independent agent with this many companies, we will often call our clients and say, we're going to reduce your premium if you like. We have the companies that do well in New York and specifically this area. The coverages that we provide are commercial and personal insurance. That's the home, the auto, ATV, motorcycle. There's nothing more fun than taking care of a customer and being able to tell them that we're able to save them some money.
Proudly representing Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty Company of Trumansburg, New York. Gates Cole Insurance. We'll take care of you.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password.
Or you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
And we're back on the Phil Stern Show. Good morning. Good morning.
Smitty loves when you do that.
I made Davey
Somebody
laugh
you won
there.
tickets to the show because you got a chuckle out of me.
Somebody wins tickets. We'll complete the. We have a total of, I don't know how many we have left, but we have maybe a couple pairs still to give away tomorrow to see Tom Papa at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino on December 1st. Tickets go on sale for what is it? Awards member, the awards club, or whatever that is at the Turning Stone today at 10, and then officially tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tickets go on sale. Tom Papa is an amazing comedian. You got to check him out. And I'm having a real issue here. Hold on. Let's listen. Can you kill a woodpecker, or are they protected?
Oh, that's a good question.
Does anybody know the answer to that?
I think you can.
Because I got to kill a woodpecker.
I think you can kill him. Or just look. You got what do you have?
Listen to this. This is terrible, and I'm running the fireplace. You hear that noise?
Yeah.
That's a woodpecker who is apparently. Listen to this.
Oh wow.
That is not a ratchet. That is a woodpecker. Listen. Apparently, the woodpecker doesn't know that our chimney is not made of wood; it's made of metal, and it is trying to peck through our chimney. Listen to this thing; it's been going on all night long at my house. So I had this morning. I've been trying to deal with this because we're not home right now. Obviously, we're on the road, and I'm trying to get my son to deal with it. And I told him, turn on the fireplace. Maybe it'll heat things up a little bit, and the woodpecker will go away to no avail. This thing is still going at it. Yeah, we got to kill it. We're going to have to kill it.
He'll learn, won't he? I mean, he'll figure it out. When he's got a flat
it's
beak.
hot enough up there.
If he gets a flat beak and he can't get through, he'll move on to the neighbor's house.
Megan says, set up a decoy owl. We had one that drummed on our storm drains every early morning. They think the decoy is real and will not go near it. Well, let me just tell you something. I think they're going to think my bird shot, Remington bird shot, is real. Although I'm not sure that you can fire off in the village, right? You can't fire a gun in the village.
Just get all you need is like a little BB gun, like a like a toy. You just need to scare it away. It'll go away. It'll learn that it can't be.
Can you hear that?
Yes, I absolutely can. Yeah, absolutely, I can hear that.
That's unbelievable.
It just started last night when you were away.
Yes, so we're not we're not there, and my son is, and he's trying to get rid of this thing, and it will not leave the roof. It's the weirdest thing. And it's a metal chimney. It's not even brick. So, but it is what it is. Okay. That music festival, by the way, I'm going to ask you, seems like it's going to be a pretty cool event. That'll be Varick Street this Saturday. And they'll be shutting off Varick Street for this. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and, obviously we were introduced to Lucas through Buck. And Buck has nothing but really good things to say about him. And he's out in California doing the filmmaking, and he's decided to come home to do some things. Obviously, he came home to shoot what he thought was going to be a music video for his buddy Nick Vanderwood there, who performed in studio.
Look what's going on. Right?
Yeah, and like I said, they've got plans on shooting films here, and a lot of high hopes. I really hope it comes to fruition, because what's gone on with the incentives for shooting films in upstate New York specifically, it'd be great if they did it in Utica, or editing films and doing all these different things. There is a financial benefit. This is a couple of the things I want to give credit where credit's due. New York State does a lot of things wrong, but I think it's fair to give them credit when they do things right. One of them is what they're doing with the chip and the semiconductor manufacturing, which we're seeing across this, Clay, Marcy, Capital District, and beyond. They've done a great job with that, honestly. And then what they're doing to encourage filmmakers to come back to the state of New York and do things here, I think is a really good thing. And I really hope these projects that they're planning come to fruition. It would be really cool. And how ironic, we were just talking about Stash Babiars this morning, and that he had been in talks with him working on a project. And I didn't even know that about the Utica Wreckers and the whole team, that whole story. I really hope that happens. So I wish him all the best of luck. Did I lose you? You're with me. Okay.
No, I'm with you here, and I want to, if we can, change and switch gears and bring in John Decker here. Anything else you want to add, Jeff, before I do that?
Yes. Chuck Lester. I was told by a bird watcher when a woodpecker is doing this, he is marking his territory.
Lovely. Well, I'd rather have the territory not be the metal chimney that just blares the echoing sound of a woodpecker through our house. Probably not a good idea. So, interesting. Let's bring in John Decker, who's standing by right now. John, of course, is the chief White House correspondent with Great TV. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Bill. Hope you're having a great week so far.
Well, we are.
Better week than Trump.
And let's talk about that. Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough week, although he'll say that it really hasn't, that he's being persecuted and his poll numbers are going up. But let's start with Mark Meadows filing to move his charges from Georgia to federal court. What do you think?
Well, I think that his lawyer, who has filed this motion with a federal district court judge in the Northern District of Georgia, has a good legal argument in that Mark Meadows is being charged with crimes associated with his activities. If you are charged under federal law with anything as it relates to your official duties as a federal officer, as Mark Meadows was, by law, that particular case must be in federal court. So we'll see ultimately how this federal judge rules on this particular motion. It would benefit him if this case was in federal court, in the sense that the jury pool, Bill, would be much better. The jury pool right now is just Fulton County, which voted for Joe Biden 70 to 30% over Donald Trump in 2020.
Yep.
You broaden it out to the Northern District of Georgia. You include a lot of Republican counties in there, and it just makes it a fair, more equitable jury pool that you're dealing with.
Don't you think, though, that at the end of the day, both sides get to vet the jurors, and we should be able to get to a fair jury, even in a liberal or even in a conservative community, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a member of the bar, and yeah, that's the whole part of the voir dire process. It's not so much do you know about the case or do you know about the defendant. It's whether you can be fair, whether you can be impartial, whether you're open to voting not guilty, just as well as being open to the idea of voting guilty. That's what the whole process of choosing a jury is all about.
I also want your take, and I feel like I do disagree with this, but Meadows, I believe in an interview, said, I didn't do anything wrong. I was only carrying out what I was told to do by the president. I'm not sure that floats. What do you think?
No, I don't think so either, and he has not really commented all that much, Mark Meadows. And there's talk that maybe he's cooperating in the federal case because he wasn't indicted, nor is he mentioned as an unindicted co-conspirator in terms of the federal case, which will take place in Washington, D.C. So he's a really interesting person to keep your eye on. And I'm also very curious. There are 19 people that were indicted in this latest indictment in Georgia. And I'm curious as to how many of those individuals are being covered by Donald Trump. Their legal bills are being covered by Donald Trump, because that is one of the things that has kept individuals from flipping, from turning on Donald Trump. And so that is going to be an interesting element to this particular matter in Georgia. And also, you think about fundraising, all that money that Donald Trump is fundraising, such a big chunk of it is actually going to lawyers' fees. It's not going to all the things that we think of when we think of running for a presidential campaign.
Well, that would, one would say that makes it beneficial to be in the campaign, right? Because if he wasn't running for president, he wouldn't be able to use those campaign funds for his legal fees.
Well, that's right. And also keep in mind, Donald Trump is a billionaire, right?
Right.
And there was
I was just going to say that.
That came out reportedly. Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, is not in a good place financially because of all of his legal bills. And Donald Trump is not paying for Rudy Giuliani's legal bills. He is one of those indicted co-conspirators in the Georgia case. He's an unindicted co-conspirator as it relates to the federal case in Washington. So he's dealing with major issues. Plus, he's being sued for defamation. On top of that, he's dealing with trying to hold on to his law license in both Washington, D.C. and also in New York State. So he's dealing with a lot of legal issues right now.
So, Bill, it turns out, I was going to say, Trump's a real bad judge of character, apparently, right? If his former chief of staff is now testifying against him, if that is true, it's like everybody he rubs elbows with is either a traitor, an idiot, overweight, sleepy, or a rhino.
Well, by the end, right, it seems to be that.
He's apparently a poor judge of character.
And what a horrible end of a life career for Rudy Giuliani after he was such a hero during 9/11. I mean, wow.
No, I agree with you. I think everybody had that same impression, which led him to run for president, as you know, but that presidential run didn't go very far. But yeah, his reputation was stellar, and he was sought after in the aftermath of 9/11 in terms of providing all kinds of security advice and consulting advice, not only here in the U.S., but literally around the world. But his reputation really suffered quite a bit in the aftermath of the 2020 election, representing Donald Trump and all the things associated with that.
Speaking with John Decker, just let's see, I've got less than a minute. President Biden facing a lot of criticism over his response to the wildfires in Maui. What are your thoughts?
Well, he was asked, I don't know if he heard the question, but he was asked his comments on the wildfires in Maui while I was on vacation, and his comment was no comment. Not a good answer, especially, it's an easy one. That's a layup for a politician.
Yeah.
But yesterday, the White House announced that the president, the first lady, will travel out to Maui Monday morning. They'll be out there for the day. They'll be meeting with first responders, with those impacted who've lost loved ones, and seeing the damage all for themselves.
All right. John, as always, thanks. We'll do it again next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Bye-bye.
Have a great week. WIBX Utica Rome, back in studio tomorrow morning. It's 9 o'clock. News is next.
Yes. Yes, I believe everything went well. We do have music in studio tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually going to be a pretty big show, busy show too. Max Sheldon, he's got a new album out, I believe. Are you familiar with him, right? He's been on your show before? All right, yeah, he'll be in tomorrow. Yeah, and I don't know if this is legit. I've never heard of this. Christine in Whitesboro messaged in to say the woodpecker is sharpening his beak on the metal. Yeah, that's okay. Megan says she thinks that's a joke.
What woodpeckers will do is they drum, and because you have a metal chimney, it's creating a very loud